2056 Want Dragon Race God Frui. 2056 Want Dragon Race God Frui. Seeing Yimo use Sword Rune again, the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor immediately focused. He had seen this before, and it almost hacked a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor in half. Although it was an ambush, it didn't mean the Sword Rune wasn't terrifying. The water needles formed a needle river again, sealing all the space around it. However, the Falling Mark Sword Rune's power was on a completely different level to Crevice. Although this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor immediately sealed the space the Sword Rune was heading to, the Twisted Sword Runes still tore open the Nail River. The Nail River seemed to have suddenly broke apart from the middle, and the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor's figure showed. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor's face changed. He knew Yimo's Sword Rune was powerful, but didn't expect it to be able to tear open his Nail River. At the same time, he released another towel. With a heavy thud, the two Sword Runes were stopped by this towel. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor breathed. The next moment, his force rose drastically. He shot out that needle again, while the towel formed materialized space that wanted to seal Yimo's escape. Great Primordial God Rune. At the same time, Yimo waved out another two runes. These two runes were very subtle and looked not much different to the other two runes. However, there was a fundamental difference between them. These two runes instantly came before the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. A terrifying dark gray destructive chi swept over. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor shivered as though next moment his body would be ripped apart by the two convoluted ripples. Great Primordial God Rune. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor instantly burned his essence chi and life like crazy when he recognized the Great Primordial God Rune. He broke free from the Great Primordial God Runes and instantly left. Yimo's Great Primordial God Rune didn't improve much, but due to his power increasing, it was much stronger than before. At the same time, this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor was much stronger than the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor he killed. He was very decisive in burning his life and fled away. But Yimo clearly saw that when the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor disappeared, he was completely aged. Splurge, the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor left so desperately that he didn't even have time to take his magic artifact. The towel was torn to pieces by Yimo's Great Primordial God Rune, and Yimo took the Tai Chi Abstruse Water Nail into his storage ring. Yimo looked at the direction the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor disappeared and didn't chase. At the same time, he cared more about the Great Primordial God Rune. Two Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor immediately fled upon seeing the Great Primordial God Rune. One could see just how terrifying the Great Primordial God Rune used to be. He had many ways to kill this Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. He could use Instant Second and kill him with Great Primordial God Rune. Even when the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor fled, Yimo could use the Golden Bow of Divine Extermination to shoot him. Yimo didn't do any of that because there was someone watching on the side. If he used Instant Second to kill the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, his power would greatly weaken. Luckily, he took the Abstruse Water Nail. It seemed like a good god artifact. Yimo just walked off without caring about the person on the side. When Yimo disappeared, an old man suddenly appeared. It was Muhan Divine Emperor. Muhan stared at Yimo's figure and murmured, "This person is probably on par with me, and he's so calculative. How does he know Great Primordial God Rune? This is too terrifying." The reason he stayed here was because he thought the same as the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. He believed the pale-faced man. Yimo not only had the gourd bottom, but also a powerful dagger. As for the 24 lightning orbs, he really didn't care as Yimo took out 12 and he checked. It was really ordinary. Although it was ordinary, he didn't believe Yimo could forge it. He was set on taking out Yimo, but when he found Yimo knew Great Primordial God Rune, he didn't want to mess with Yimo at all. Yimo stopped and took out a jade card. Inside the jade card, it showed Muhan Divine Emperor standing where he was with a surprised face. Yimo sneered and put the jade card away. He knew it was Muhan Divine Emperor lurking in the dark. This guy was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, otherwise he might force him out. After searching in the valley for a half a day, Yemo was disappointed. There should be many good things here, but he didn't find anything. The layout seemed grand. The deeper you were, the stronger the natural feeling. Luckily, the god spirit chi here was rather dense. Yemo waved out small ginseng. Small ginseng, help me find if there's god spirit chi here. We can't go back empty-handed. Don't worry, boss. If there's god spirit range here, I can find it immediately. Small ginseng dashed out quickly. He would go back and show off to Shadowless later. Shadowless sat under the bitter bamboo and sighed, boss is getting more and more unfair. It's always me outside before, but now small ginseng goes out more than me. Chiu Rang called Shadowless big brother, but he didn't dare to offend small ginseng. He loved wine like his life. If he offended small ginseng, it would be hard to get wine. But he didn't dare to offend Shadowless either. He comforted big brother Shadowless. You used to go out so often because boss needed your help in fight. Shut, now your cultivation level isn't improving and boss are always fighting divine emperors. They can easily annihilate you. Of course you can't go out. Shadowless glared. Chiu Rang immediately became scared and said, big brother Shadowless, if you want to go out more you have to get stronger. That way, boss would need you the next time he fought. Improve my mass. I'm just an eater. If I don't have things to eat, how do I get stronger? Shadowless sagged his head. Boss, you come from dragon race. You probably know about Hun Tian Pan dragon fruit, right? Chiu Rang carefully said, I don't know shit. I was kicked out. Don't show off in front of me, kid. You were kicked out too. Shadowless said angrily. Chiu Rang smiled, I'm different. I stayed at the dragon race for a while, and at least know where the dragon palace is. Seeing Shadowless about to get angry again, Chiu Rang immediately said, big brother Shadowless, Hun Tian Pan dragon fruit is one of the most precious god fruits of the dragon race. It's said one can allow an immortal monarch-level dragon to break through. If you eat plenty of it, it's not hard to break through. Chiu Rang spoke with his eyes spinning quickly. Shadowless wasn't dumb and immediately stared at him. Your eyes are spinning so quickly. Are you thinking of some scheme? Chiu Rang saw this and quickly said, big brother, I just want you to tell boss to bring us to the dragon race Hun Tian Pan dragon fruit garden. I just want one. You know where it is? Shadowless' eyes spun and asked. He already considered the entire garden to be his even though he didn't know where it was yet. Chiu Rang patted his chest, boss. As long as we get to the dragon race, I can find it. There's also a Dao fruit inside called heavenly fruit. It can allow someone to seek Dao. It's the top treasure of the dragon race. Many divine emperors go there to seek one, but they only have heavenly fruit tree, and it only produces 3 fruits every 10,000 years. Shadowless laughed and patted Chiu Rang's head with his foot. Not bad. Haha, I'll take both of them. Seeing Chiu Rang's strange smile, Shadowless shivered and changed his word. I meant boss would have it all. If boss has it, we would have it. Chiu Rang, do you think I should tell boss quickly? Hun Tian Pan dragon fruit? Yemo repeated in confusion. If it could allow Shadowless to evolve, then of course he was willing to go, but he didn't know where the dragon race was. Just when Yemo was going to ask Chiu Rang, his spirit sense scanned 2 divine emperors stopping small ginseng. Yemo was furious and immediately dashed to small ginseng and glared at these 2 divine emperors coldly. You two, I opened the entrance of the valley and let you guys in, yet you want my immortal pet. People really can't be nice these days. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2057 Formation Rune Formation. 2057 Formation Rune Formation. These 2 divine emperors were depressed. They thought there would be plenty of treasure in the valley, but they haven't found anything in here. They only became happy when they saw small ginseng. Small ginseng was Ice Ginseng King and had been with the bitter bamboo and chaos tree for so long. How could these 2 let small ginseng go? They were 1 Dao Molding Divine Emperor and 1 Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Both of them knew Yemo. They glanced at each other and saw small ginseng not move behind Yemo. They already believed it was Yemo's. So this Ice Ginseng King is Brother Yes. Sorry for the offense. The Tao Molding Divine Emperor said. Yemo nodded, and he got less angry. After all, small ginseng was extremely precious. It was normal that they wanted it before seeing him. However, the Tao Molding Divine Emperor didn't stop there. He said, I've been stuck at Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor for countless years. I was thinking of getting something good in the valley and break through to Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, but I find anything here. Yemo frowned and thought, what does this have to do with me? The Tao Molding Divine Emperor took out a storage ring and said, Brother Yi, I have 1,000,000 God crystals here. I don't need this if I don't break through. I want to give these to Brother Yi. Thank you. Although I like God crystals, but I don't accept free things. Please go. Yemo said. Yemo knew how fast small ginseng was. Since he stayed here, it meant there was something strange here. After the two were gone, he would ask small ginseng. Hearing this, the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor frowned before the Tao Molding Divine Emperor spoke. His force rose and Tao rune flowed. Clearly, he was very unhappy with what Yemo said. This place wasn't Yemo's. What right did he have to tell them to go? Yemo knew they were unhappy about this. The Tao Molding Divine Emperor smiled. Of course, we would leave here. It's no rush. Of course, I'm not giving these God crystals for free. I want to negotiate with Brother Yi. Your Ice Ginseng King is already missing an arm. It's probably from a deal with someone. I don't want much. I just want one leg of the Ice Ginseng King. Brother Yi, piss off. Yemo couldn't control his anger anymore. This guy was still after small ginseng. Small ginseng was no immortal spirit herb to Yemo. He was alive to Yemo. The Tao Molding Divine Emperor's face changed, and he released a blue spear. I gave you face, but you didn't take it. Now it's not up to you if you want to sell or not. Brother Jing, you watch out for me. I want to see what he has to be cocky for. Yemo knew what this guy meant. He was inviting that Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor to attack together. Yemo attacked with Zisu before he finished. Since they were going to fight, Yemo would attack first. After Zisu hacked out 2 twisted sword runes, it fused with Yemo's domain, forming a new space domain binding. Only one sword rune attacked that Tao Molding Divine Emperor. The other rune hung above Yemo's head, twisting with lethal force as though ready to charge at that Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. At the same time, 5 lightning spear destruction appeared out of nowhere, carrying heaven-shocking lightning. Yemo didn't need to use Great Primordial God rune against the Tao Molding Divine Emperor. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor had seen the terror of that falling mark sword rune. Now that one was about to attack him, clearly he didn't have the effort to mind the Tao Molding Divine Emperor. He immediately released his magic artifact to prevent the rune from falling on him. He was also unhappy. Although he was partner with that Tao Molding Divine Emperor, he should at least ask him before attacking Yemo. While the Tao Molding Divine Emperor was bound by domain, he could only barely release his blue spear. Rumble. The twisted sword rune smashed away the spear. Before the Tao Molding Divine Emperor could break free from all of this, the 5 lightning spear destruction came. In the shine of lightning, the Tao Molding Divine Emperor's essence spirit didn't even come out and was pinned to death by the 5 lightning spear destruction. The next moment, the Tao Molding Divine Emperor's storage ring and the 1,000,000 God crystals fell into Yemo's hands. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor stared at Yemo with a pale face. If Yemo didn't ambush that Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, he would even think Yemo was Tao Essence Divine Emperor. He used just one move to kill a Tao Molding Divine Emperor. He could definitely not defend against such means. Brother Yi, I was too rash. Goodbye. The Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor immediately fled. Yemo looked at this and sneered, but he didn't chase the Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Seeing that Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, Small Ginseng said without Yemo needing to ask, boss, it's here. There's a natural formation. I just found it and those 2 guys came. Yemo rejoiced. The God Spirit range left by Wooding Old Man wouldn't be ordinary. He even hoped that extreme grade God Spirit range would appear. With Small Ginseng leading the way, Yemo soon found the entrance to the natural formation, but after Small Ginseng walked a few steps, he could no longer go forward. Small ginseng lost sense of direction inside the formation too. Wait. Yemo stopped small ginseng. Yemo threw out a few formation flags and pointed at the formation runes. Wooding old man is very powerful. He found this natural formation and then set a stealth and defense formation inside it. You can't find the way because this formation is set with formation runes. I've just learned such things. Go to the golden page world. I can handle this here. After small ginseng went in, Yemo started to derive Wooding old man's formation. He kept throwing out his own formation flags. As time went on, a subtle space passage appeared before Yemo. Yemo went in and threw out more formation flags. The deeper he went, the more sophisticated Yemo felt this formation was. Meanwhile, this formation became clearer. A few days later, there was another crack in the scene before Yemo brightened up. The stealth things cleared up. A narrow stairway appeared before him. The stairway was ancient and lead to some unknown place, but the dense god spirit chi seeping out made Yemo realize that this stairway led to the core of the Wooding Valley. It was the source of god spirit chi. Yemo realized that Wooding old man purposely made the formation go from easy to hard so that people who came in here could learn. If it was the extremely complex formation, then it would be many years later that he came in. Realizing this, Yemo quickly bowed. Thank you, Qian Bei, for leaving behind this formation. Wan Bei benefited greatly. Yemo sped across the long stairway, and a huge palace appeared before him. There were just a few spirit barrier formations and nothing else. When Yemo walked into the palace, he was very shocked. The extremely dense god spirit chi seeping out made him feel very clear-minded. What shocked him was the god spirit ranges he saw here. 18 god spirit range were laid out. Many were joined up with formation flags and formation runes. Clearly, these god spirit ranges supplied god spirit chi for the entire valley. Yemo walked forward a few steps, and more than 10 god spirit ranges made light cracks and turned to dust in this palace. Yemo sighed and wasn't too surprised. He felt this was the situation when he came in. Their level was high, but not many could remain after the countless years. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2058 Arousing Envy. 2058 Arousing Envy. Yemo waved out a palm wind and swept away all those god spirit range that turned to dust. The remaining 5 god spirit range instantly showed. Yemo put his hand on one of them. Pure god spirit chi came. Yemo immediately knew this was a top-grade god spirit range. The remaining 5 were used a lot, but top-grade god spirit range was much more useful to him than low-grade god spirit range. Yemo sighed. Because this place was sealed, the dissipated god spirit range couldn't replenish instant second god spirit chi from the placements of these god spirit ranges. Yemo guessed that those god spirit ranges that turned to dust might be extreme grade god spirit range. Yemo took away the few remaining god spirit range, and the palace suddenly dimmed. Then, there were cracking sounds. The palace was collapsing. Yemo dashed out of the palace rapidly. Countless dust and stones were stirred up. Yemo waved his hand, and they formed a huge whirlpool that was soon compressed into a ball. After the palace disappeared, the formation disappeared too. Yemo's line of sight cleared up. Yemo finally realized that there was nothing in the valley and why the extreme grade god spirit ranges were used up. There was a huge herb mountain in front of him. It was completely lush green, and there were god spirit herbs, or top immortal spirit herbs everywhere. With this many things growing on this mountain, it would be strange if the god spirit ranges weren't used up. It seemed the best things were on this god herb mountain. He risked his life to go into the Mu Hua God mountain and got less than 0.1% of what was here. This was definitely Wooding old man's herb garden. Yemo glanced past these god spirit herb, and his eyes eventually set on a blue fruit tree. It had tins of dark gray fruits. This was Yemo's first time seeing such fruit. When his spirit sense landed on the fruits, he almost called out in shock. This was definitely a Dao fruit. The powerful Tao wave and Law Qi made Yemo very certain. Yemo felt a sense of familiarity from the fruit. There were subtle runes on the fruit that contained endless Tao wave law. It was the Tao wave law of great primordial God rune. Yemo suppressed his excitement. This was definitely the Tao fruit-wooing old man used to learn great primordial God rune. If he got these Tao fruits, his knowledge of great primordial God rune would rise to an unbelievable level. No wonder his great primordial God rune was hard to break through. It seemed he needed these dark gray fruits. Yemo immediately threw out formation flags to take away this God spirit herb mountain, but he soon found he couldn't take it away. When a few figures appeared in Yemo's spirit sense, he became worried. He could tell people were drawn over by the God spirit Qi and God spirit herbs here. Yemo couldn't care about taking this entire mountain. He immediately dashed to the top and dug up this tree and sent it to his golden page world. At the same time, a few figures landed at the foot of the mountain. They saw what Yemo did, but no one cared. They started to take the God spirit herbs. Yemo did the same. But before digging even 0.1%, the God spirit herb mountain suddenly cracked. A destructive Qi released. Violent heaven law spewed out of the crevice. Yemo stood at the top and immediately felt things weren't right. He dashed and left the mountain. At the same time, the other divine emperors felt this too, and all dashed away. At the same time, everyone left. The entire God spirit herb mountain turned to dust. This was so close. Yemo would have been locked on by the destructive Qi if he was just a little slower. Wooing old man was really strange. He didn't give the God spirit herb mountain away and instead destroyed it. This might be because he took the God spirit range, but Yemo wasn't disappointed. He received enough from here. He looked around and saw the stealth formations from before become useless. No wonder these people saw the God spirit herb mountain. Brother Yi benefited quite a lot from this. Yunli divine emperor looked at Yemo and said. Those disappointed divine emperors gazed at Yemo because Yemo dug a Tao fruit first before they started collecting God spirit herbs. They at most collected just over 10 and the mountain exploded. No one knew what tree Yemo took, but they could guess it was something significant. Yunli divine emperor and another Tao nourishment divine emperor subtly sealed off Yemo's front and back. Yemo sneered. They were dreaming to want his Tao fruits. No matter how much he got, he wasn't going to take out one. It's nothing, I just happened to see an ordinary peach tree, and I like peaches, so I dug it out. Yemo said. Because Yemo took out the 12 lightning orbs, everyone thought Yemo was scared of trouble, so they weren't worried Yemo wouldn't give it out. Seeing Yemo not bring the Tao fruit free up, Yunli divine emperor's face sunk. He said nothing, but the other Tao nourishment divine emperor said coldly, Yemo, everyone opened the valley together, and we got nothing here. Since you found the God herb mountain and got the most precious thing inside, you should share it with everyone. Yemo was furious. He found the entrance, and he opened the place. This bastard didn't think about who gave him the opportunity to get the God spirit herbs he just collected. One really couldn't be too timid. Just because he took out the 12 orbs before, these people were certain they could take him on. Yemo suppressed his anger and looked at the Tao nourishment divine emperor. Tao friend, do you have a dual cultivation Tao partner? What does this have to do with the God spirit herb mountain? I'm only going to ask you once. Are you going to take it out or not? The Tao nourishment divine emperor's tone grew more serious as his powerful Tao nourishment divine emperor force rose. Then that means you do? Can you take out your dual cultivation Tao partner out and share her around? Yemo sneered. Not every divine emperor had a Tao partner, but talking about this in this way was the greatest insult to every divine emperor. With this, the Tao nourishment divine emperor could no longer hold in his anger. An ancient Qin was released. At the same time, he struck out tens of sound chords. He already considered Yemo dead. He not only had a Tao partner, and she was also master of Qin like him. His Tao partner was the most beautiful in his eyes and had same importance to him as his cultivation. He released his God art without hesitation. Strung. The chord sounds attacked rapidly, cutting the space between him and Yi-Mo into pieces. Yi-Mo was in this space, and there was no more life force left. One could imagine that once the space shards hit Yi-Mo, Yi-Mo would become shards too. Yi-Mo didn't like to waste time talking. Since this man attacked first, he sliced out with Zi-Su and punched. Fist God, Arch Shatter Space, and Crevice attacked at the same time, forming multiple lethal force whirlpools while sweeping some of the space shards. This force struck the space shards, creating a huge explosion. Essence Chi burst and space rattled. Zi-Su and the Qin clashed together. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. 2059, can't take out Yi-Mo. 2059, can't take out Yi-Mo. A string cord was severed by Zi-Su, and Zi-Su was flicked away by the cord and couldn't continue attacking this down nourishment divine emperor. The powerful clash of space made Yi-Mo and that down nourishment divine emperor retreat a few steps each. But everyone could tell that in that quick clash, the down nourishment divine emperor was at the lower hand. Yi-Mo sighed. His Zi-Su was too low level. Otherwise, it wouldn't just be one string breaking in that clash. The down nourishment divine emperor immediately knew he was no match for Yi-Mo and stared at Yunli divine emperor. Yunli divine emperor sneered and suddenly saluted with his fists. I suspected that Yi-Mo took a Dao fruit tree. Those who want to share CME out. Then he grabbed a green mist and stopped in front of Yi-Mo. He glanced his eyes across the other divine emperors, especially Mu-Han divine emperor. If Mu-Han divine emperor stood out, there would be two Dao actualization divine emperors here. Yi-Mo wouldn't be able to get away no matter what. Unexpectedly, Mu-Han divine emperor didn't look at him and just looked down as though in contemplation. Yunli divine emperor immediately frowned. Yi-Mo was just in solo cultivator. He didn't understand why Mu-Han divine emperor had such attitude. Just at this moment, another sneer sounded. A purple-robed, thin-eyed divine emperor got out and sealed off Yi-Mo's other path. This divine emperor was almost killed by Yi-Mo and had a powerful nail magic artifact. Yunli divine emperor rejoiced. He wasn't afraid of unable to beat Yi-Mo, but was afraid Yi-Mo would escape. Now that them three-cornered Yi-Mo definitely wouldn't be able to escape. It was easy to take Yi-Mo down, but it wasn't easy to share things. If everyone attacked, it was fine, but he didn't believe those people on the side would be calm after they got the good things. Shameless things, Gan Shintong, will stand by Brother Yi. I want to see who dares to attack. Seeing Yunli, a Dao actualization divine emperor, ask for help against Yi-Mo, Gan Shintong couldn't resist it anymore. Seeing this, Yuanlai divine emperor's heart sunk. There was a Ji-Shi on the side who didn't speak. He didn't doubt the pale-faced man. He always thought there was something between Yi-Mo and Ji-Shi. Now that Ji-Shi didn't speak, she quite possibly would help Yi-Mo when they fought. With Mu-Han divine emperor acting dumb, Yunli divine emperor was no longer certain he could take out Yi-Mo. He looked at Ji-Shi and Mu-Han before sneering goodbye. The other two Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor saw Yunli Divine Emperor go and left without daring to say a word. Cowards! Gan Shintong sneered at them in contempt. Mu-Han Divine Emperor saw this and saluted with his fist to Yi-Mo. I'm going to. We'll meet again if fate calls for it, Brother Yi. Yi-Mo sneered. He knew why Mu-Han Divine Emperor felt threatened by him. This old guy wanted to take him out, but was scared his old bones couldn't handle his great primordial god rune. Thank you for helping Sister Shintong. Yi-Mo said. Gan Shintong smiled. I haven't heard people call me sister in years. It's fresh, but I like it. Yi-Mo, it seems that Mu-Han feels threatened by you. Yi-Mo nodded. That guy is a hypocrite. He originally wanted to ambush me, but was scared by me, and thus didn't attack. Gan Shintong didn't ask about the details, and just said, then I'm going first, be careful. No one was dumb as Dao actualization divine emperors. She believed the pale-faced man a bit. She might have some relations to Yi-Mo, and now that she didn't want to disturb them. Sister Shintong, are you going to the life-crippling restriction grounds? Yi-Mo quickly saked. Gan Shintong said casually, my cultivation level is too low to go there. I suggest you don't go now too. If you don't reach Tao Essence Divine Emperor, it's 90% of death going there. You wouldn't even be able to pass the life-crippling bridge, much less the forbidden grounds. I have to go elsewhere to seek Tao Essence opportunity. Once I reach Tao Essence, I will go check it out. Yemo took out that Tai Chi abstruse water nail to Gon Shintong. Sister Shintong, I don't have much, but I have quite some magic artifact. I don't have any use for this, you can have it. Great magic artifact. Gon Shintong's spirit sense scanned the nail casually and immediately knew it was extraordinary. Thank you, Brother Yi. I lack such a magic artifact. Gon Shintong was straightforward and she liked this magic artifact, so she accepted it. After taking it, she glanced at Ji Shi and then saluted with her fists. I'm leaving. We'll meet again in the God Necropolis domain. Then, Gon Shintong turned to leave. Yemo knew that Ji Shi definitely had business with him. He had business with her too. The gourd was in her hands. He only had a gourd bottom. If he got the entire gourd, he would have a truly powerful magic artifact. Let's do a deal. I'll still take you to the life-crippling forbidden grounds, and you give me the gourd bottom. If we see Jian Ke on the way, help me rob the blue bottle. Ji Shi saw Yemo look at her and said. Yemo sneered, I have to give the gourd bottom to you and help you get back the blue bottle, and all I get is to stay with you, right? Are you very aromatic? I need to stay with you? I'm not chasing you. Why should I let you have all the benefits? I said I'll take you to the life-crippling forbidden grounds. Ji Shi's face looked bad. Sorry, I can go there myself. I don't need your help. Yemo said. There was a sliver of scorn in her eyes. You were using an excuse to stay with me before. Why don't you keep using excuses? You said you didn't know where it was, but now you know. You really change your words quick. Yemo couldn't be bothered explaining Kong Qingtian to him and said, Ji Shi, give me the gourd and you can say what conditions you have. Ji Shi wobbled and disappeared in a white light. Her voice remained, bring Jian Kuei's blue bottle and you can exchange for the gourd. Otherwise, no deal. In a short while, this place became cold and desolate again. Yemo didn't care. He was going to find a place and check out that gray rune fruit to see if it really helped him cultivate Great Primordial God Rune. He had tested the Great Primordial God Rune's power many times. With his current power, he can use Great Primordial God Rune to surely take out a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. If this Tao fruit could improve his Great Primordial God Rune to another level, then he wouldn't even fear Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2060 Yemo encountered Dead City. 2060 Yemo encountered Dead City Great Primordial Tao Rune Fruit. Yemo opened his eyes and looked at his empty palm. He was enlightened by that fruit, and it disappeared. He learned that the fruit was called Great Primordial Tao Rune Fruit. For those who didn't cultivate the Great Primordial God Rune, the fruit was worthless, but after using this Tao fruit, Yemo could clearly feel his God Rune become clearer. It was still 2 runes, but its power was completely different to before. This fruit was indeed for cultivating the Great Primordial God Rune. Yemo was very happy. He planted that fruit tree into the Golden Page world. The tree had 56 fruits in total. If he used them all, he believed his Great Primordial God Rune would become an extremely powerful Great God Art. Yemo spent a year or so using the Great Primordial God Rune fruit. Yemo didn't use Time Formation Disc as he feared it would affect him learning the Tao laws inside. Then, on the way to the life-crippling Forbidden Grounds, Yemo kept practicing his God Art while improving his Great Primordial God Rune. His God Art and Great Primordial God Rune improved rapidly. It couldn't let him reach Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, but the powerful feeling of the God Art settled Yemo's mind. He just used 5 Great Primordial God Rune fruits and stopped. Before he increased his cultivation level, using more of the fruits would at most make his Great Primordial God Rune a little stronger. It couldn't help him form more runes. This was a waste. While Yemo was still in God Necropolis domain, Yimo was flying rapidly in a place in Wenju heaven. When the first immortal city appeared in Yimo's spirit sense, she was extremely excited. She finally saw her first immortal city after immortal ascension. She didn't even know how she ascended. She just remembered she was in the west extreme state Sand River and suddenly felt the chi of immortal ascension. She could only leave a messenger flying sword and was swept away by the immortal ascension spirit cloud. Then, she appeared on this ruin. She suspected it was an ancient battleground. Luckily, she had experienced all sorts of things on Luoyu continent and wasn't scared. She just left the ruins immediately and flew for a few days before seeing her first city. When Yimo saw this city, she immediately became happy. She hadn't seen an immortal yet since immortal ascension. Since there was a city here, there must be immortals. She could ask them about the immortal realm, but as she came near the city, she felt more worried. This immortal city was lifeless. The immortal realm was different to the cultivation realm. In the cultivation realm, she had enough power to deal with anything, but in the immortal realm, her power was at the very bottom. When she came outside the city, she could still see the world's Bing Xiong immortal city. There was not a single person at the city gates. Yimo carefully neared the city gates. The city gates' restrictions were wide open, but the dried-up blood gave Yimo a very bad feeling. When Yimo walked in, she was completely dazed. This was truly a dead city. She didn't see a single live person. The streets and shops were covered in dried blood. The immortal shops and towers were all ravaged. Yimo subconsciously shivered when the lifeless chi came striking her. Her spirit sense couldn't even scan 0.1% of the immortal city, but there was not a single person here. This was too terrifying. Who were they all killed by? Was this caused by war? But soon, Yimo knew that it wasn't caused by a war. It was something sudden. The reason she made such judgment was because she not only saw some storage rings on the streets, but also some scattered immortal crystals. These immortal crystals were much higher level than the low-grade immortal crystals she used before. She didn't need to ask to know they were top-grade immortal crystals. This immortal city was very eerie. Yimo had been to many eerie places but still felt chills down her spine. She quickly picked up the immortal crystals and the storage rings. This made her extremely uncomfortable, but there were this many storage rings and immortal crystals here. She didn't want to just leave like that. These were all CNM resources. After half a day, Yimo collected more than 100 storage ring and then quickly left the city. She believed if she stayed there, she would soon pick up more than 10,000 storage rings. But when she was young, Song Yangzhu taught her that people needed to know content or they would eventually suffer due to their greed. Another reason was that she felt uncomfortable staying in this city. It was as though the next moment, she would become a part of the dead chi here. After leaving this immortal city, she immediately released her flying magic artifact and sped off. Not long after she left, she felt this shiver all over her body. A powerful killing intent rose from behind her. She hadn't even converted her cultivation essence yet. She couldn't fly fast at all. That terrifying lethal force made Yimo feel that if she touched it, she would be dead for certain. Under such terrifying force, Yimo didn't dare to keep running and quickly landed. At the same time, she scanned her spirit sense out. She saw a huge bug open its mouth. The bug was extremely disgusting. It had countless legs and 9 heads. The sticky liquids dripped from the bug's 9 heads, making Yimo feel disgust. She almost vomited. The bug just opened instant second mouth, and the city immediately turned to ruins. Yimo felt a dent appear at the city. Even her spirit sense was devoured by that dent. She finally realized why the place she ascended to was in ruins. It was devoured by this 9-headed bug. Yimo wasn't dumb. She knew she was in danger. There was no way that she could hide from this 9-headed void-devouring bug with her little cultivation level. If that bug sucked, she wouldn't be able to live. She wasn't afraid of death, but being devoured by such bug was too disgusting. The 9-headed void-devouring bug just devoured everything in the city and then opened instant second mouth towards Yimo. The powerful space collapse made Yimo fall into despair. She couldn't stop this at all. Before she could show her despair, A 30 kilometers long dark red beam smashed over. Yimo felt the suction force disappear from her, and then she saw a gray figure arrive with that long sword ray. Seeing this sword light, the bug immediately swept into a whirlpool and disappeared. The gray figure chased down too. Yimo didn't even see who saved her. She was dazed, but such power. Both the bug and gray figure had heaven-shocking power. Even if her power increased by 10 million times, she was probably no match. Feeling that her life wasn't safe here, Yimo didn't dare to stay, and then released her flying magic artifact and changed the direction and fled. She rejoiced that she didn't stay in the city long, or she would have been devoured already. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2061 Learn Ice Space. Chapter 2061 Learn Ice Space. Yimo stopped. What appeared before him was an endless gray desert. There were space crevice ravaging everywhere, as well as the chaotic Tao marks of all sorts of god arts. Yimo's spirit sense crossed in this chaotic place and was instantly grinded to pieces. Some bones were scattered over this desert. Yimo forcefully hacked out a few spirit sense blades. His spirit sense blades fell on these bones and immediately felt this ancient chi. There was powerful Tao waves mixed inside the chi. Yimo knew that these people were very powerful when they were alive. Yimo looked at this place and guessed that he was probably at the outskirts of the life-crippling Forbidden Grounds. This was his Elelathir in the god Necropolis domain. 25 years ago, he lost Kong Qingtian's spirit sense marks. He didn't know if something happened to Kong Qingtian or what. Yimo had been in here for this long, and although he couldn't sense the Forbidden Grounds, he could guess the way a bit. Yimo carefully entered this desert and controlled his spirit sense to a 100-meter range. He started to walk along the border of the desert. Some faint space fissures and Tao waves struck him instantly, tearing his clothes open. But his immortal god body immediately formed a faint essence chi barrier. Gradually, he got used to the sword marks on this desert. He could gradually get closer to the inside. At the start, Yimo was thinking about how to use his essence chi barrier OT block the near Tao runes. When he was used to the crevice and the Tao mark laws, he was completely immersed in the laws. He needed to learn what he needed from these chaotic Tao laws. In here, the law Tao waves were very impure. Rarely could people separate the god arts they needed from this mess, but Yimo could. He saw space law, time law, and 5-element law. In these laws, he would empower it to his god art as long as it was beneficial to him. Until one day, he caught a sliver of extreme cold chi. It was just a sliver, but Yimo felt the terror of this extreme frost chi. This sliver completely grinded the nearby laws, forming a small space. Yimo guessed that as time went on, this sliver of chi would dissipate, but Yimo felt another power as this chi. He stopped and completely immersed his spirit sense into the frost. 1 month, 2 months, a few months had passed, but Yimo didn't move at all. He just kept waving his hand as Tao waves circulated in his hand before eventually completely sealing this space. Crack! A year later, Yimo suddenly roared and released countless hand signs. The space near him froze. This wasn't space law. It was a strange freeze. It was like a pond of water suddenly froze. Then, this pond started to crack from the crack. It was like the entire pond shattered. The Tao laws around Yimo disappeared, and the space before him became extremely cold. Such powerful ice god art. Yimo murmured. He was certain that the person who left behind such ice god art must be an ancient, powerful ice spirit root being. This god art seemed like space god art, but it was much direct than space god art. Perhaps this type of god art is far weaker than the space god art of a powerful being who was experienced in space law. However, if both people only knew a sliver about space law, then this ice god art was definitely much stronger than ordinary space god art. This ice god art would form a frozen space which would then crack apart. The things frozen would turn into oblivion. It will be called ice space. Yemo said, "No wonder there were that many powerful beings willing to come to God, Necropolis Domain. This place was a heaven for Tao seeking. Other than cultivation resource, great primordial god rune and ice space god art were Yemo's greatest learnings in the God Necropolis Domain. It was even greater than his Tao vindication. He would eventually vindicate Tao anyways, but God art was something that couldn't be learned without certain fortune and environment." Suddenly, there was this pitiful howl. Yemo looked over. All he could see was chaotic, messy laws that entwined in space. He couldn't see what made the howl. Yemo didn't check with his spirit sense, as his spirit sense couldn't withstand the broken chi yet. Yemo sped up along the direction of the howl. Half a day later, he saw nearly 20 divine emperors. Some were sitting on the ground, some stood and didn't move, and some were floating in space. Yemo had been in this desert for a year or two. He knew that these people were here to learn the Tao ways here. The only difference was that most people used magic artifact to protect themselves. Only 3 didn't use any defense magic artifacts. Soon, Yemo realized that these people were Tao Essence Divine Emperors. Yemo saw 2 familiar people too. One was Muhan Divine Emperor, and one was Ji Shi. Muhan Divine Emperor seemed to be learning a god art there. Ji Shi stood by a broad bridge and frowned in contemplation. Even Ji, she had to take out her 9 lotus stand to protect her. Seeing Yemo come, almost everyone was shocked. They were shocked that an immortal emperor came, and one who didn't use any defense magic artifacts. Even the Tao Essence Divine Emperors looked at Yemo with some shock, as they couldn't see Yemo's real cultivation level 2. No one believed Yemo was an immortal emperor. An immortal emperor would definitely not be able to reach life, crippling desert, nor the life, crippling bridge. One bald old man came up to Yemo and studied him for a while before saying, "Tao friend, nice power. You're probably not far from divine body, right? I'm Gonyang, and what's your name?" As he spoke, the wrinkles on his forehead grew deeper. However, the powerful chi coming from him made Yemo realize this man was definitely Tao Essence Divine Emperor, a very powerful one. Yemo saluted with his fists, "Greetings, Tao friend Gonyang. My name is Yemo. May I ask where this place is?" No one dared to speak when Gonyang spoke. It seemed he was the strongest here. Yemo wanted to ask if he was at the life-crippling Forbidden Grounds and if he was there a way out. Since Gonyang couldn't see his cultivation level, he might as well act. "The stronger you were here, the more you were respected." Tao friend Yi, this is the outskirts of life-crippling Forbidden Grounds, the life-crippling bridge. Did you not come here sensing the Forbidden Grounds? Gonyang asked in confusion. Yemo said with embarrassment, "I cultivated a god, art called Tao Severance. I've severed off the will to sense the Forbidden Grounds to prevent me from always thinking about this place. However, when I made some accomplishments to this god art, I casually got here." Gonyang didn't doubt Yemo's words and immediately raised his thumb. "Tao friend, Yi has a powerful intelligence. I don't have your great wisdom and will. I saw 2 Tao runes in the God Necropolis Domain and go back to try and learn it every 100 years. However, I've never succeeded in 10,000 years. When I went back 100 years ago, the 2 runes were gone. Only then did I make up my mind to come here. I'm far lesser compared to Tao friend Yi." Yemo immediately knew what Gonyang was talking about. He was talking about the 2 great primordial god runes. "But that's good. I've made up my mind to cross the life-crippling bridge," Gonyang said in self-comfort. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters." 2062 Life Crippling Bridge. 2062 Life Crippling Bridge. "So this place is the Life Crippling Bridge," Yemo purposely said with surprise. Then he said with regret, "Although I know there's such bridge here, I've never come here before and have only heard of Instant's second name. Tao friend Gonyang, can you tell me about this bridge and how to enter the life-crippling Forbidden Grounds?" She looked at Yemo with confusion. She thought about how Yemo said he didn't know where the Forbidden Grounds were. Now, It didn't seem to be lying. How did he find his way here, though? Although it was much later than them, it was still extremely hard. It seems Dao friend Yi really doesn't understand this place. Gongyangan laughed. In order to get in the forbidden grounds, you must cross the bridge. The bridge ahead of us is the life-crippling bridge. The river below is the life-crippling river. Yemo looked at the life-crippling bridge. The first time he saw the bridge, it seemed very broad. But hearing Gongyangan say he was going to cross the bridge to get to the forbidden grounds, he suddenly found the bridge was very narrow. What was this? Yemo carefully checked the life-crippling bridge with spirit sense. He found the bridge was shrouded in mist and had no barricades nor border. Sometimes it looked very broad. Sometimes the life-crippling bridge seems boundless. Sometimes it seems to be a narrow passage. The yin qi on there is shocking. Once you go on the bridge, your soul would be drawn. Those weak-minded wouldn't be able to control themselves. If your soul isn't stable on the bridge, then no matter how powerful your god art is, you can only be a headless fly on the bridge and fall down eventually. Gongyangan sighed. What happens if you fall into the river? Yemo asked. Just soul annihilation. Another Tao Essence Divine Emperor answered calmly. Yemo realized why this many people didn't cross. They were scared of unable to cross. If you want to cross the bridge, you must learn the yin qi on the bridge and fuse your soul into it. That way, you wouldn't be defenseless when you cross it. Seeing the strange positioned divine emperors, Yemo realized that they were here not to learn god art, but to learn the yin qi. He wondered if that Sikong Shan crossed the bridge. Yemo asked again, Dao friend Gonyang, have people ever crossed the bridge? Gonyang fell into silence for a moment and said that I don't know. I've never seen someone come out of the life-crippling, forbidden grounds. The life-crippling bridge is boundless. If you fall off immediately, we can see it from here, but if you go deep, neither spirit sense nor the eyes can see. Is there only the possibility to leave if you get to the life-crippling forbidden grounds? Yemo asked. His spirit sense just felt an extremely yin qi on the bridge. He didn't know if he could cross it too. Gonyang said affirmatively, that's right. Only once you cross the bridge and enter the life-crippling forbidden grounds can you find the opportunity for primordial essence as well as the way out. I've been in the God Necropolis domain for all these years and have no other choice, so I want to go try. Yemo looked around and knew that most people here thought the same. However, he didn't know why she was here. She had been in here for this short and didn't even reach Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Why was she in a rush to leave? He chatted with Gongyangan for a bit more and didn't waste more of his time. He found a place to learn the bridge too. Yemo's spirit sense was different. After spending 100 years in the God Necropolis domain, it had reached the 5th level. Spirit will 9 transformations 5th transformation, realm form. If he was willing, his spirit sense could form a small realm. This realm would be his spirit sense world. Anything that entered this realm would be annihilated by his spirit sense realm. Yemo's spirit sense carefully landed on the bridge, but instantly, it was completely eroded by yin qi, seeing the other pale faces of the divine emperors. Yemo knew their spirit sense was eroded too. Yemo ate a dual spirit pill and then formed an extremely small spirit sense barrier on the bridge. His spirit sense wasn't eroded this time, and instead wrapped a gust of yin qi. An ancient calling sounded from the bottom of Yemo's heart. That calling seemed to have come from hell, making Yemo very shocked. There was even a sliver of horror. It was as though there was a warning that if he didn't kneel down and follow what he was told, he would be annihilated. That calling was for him to go on the bridge and jump off. That way he would get eternal life. Even with Yemo's firm mind, he couldn't resist such warnings and suppressions. Sweat seeped out of his forehead. The next moment, he released a few spirit sense blades and yelled, "Sever!" A few spirit sense blades sliced out. The yin qi in his spirit sense realm was instantly annihilated. Yemo breathed and recovered. He took back his spirit sense, and his face was a bit pale. If it wasn't in his spirit sense realm, it would be hard for his spirit sense blades to cut those yin qi. You can check the life-crippling bridge with spirit sense and sense it, but before you get used to it, your spirit sense would be taken away by the yin qi if you go deep. At the same time, your soul would lose control and you would charge onto the bridge. Before you, a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor came and charged on the bridge as he jumped off. Ji Shi's voice sounded by Yi Mo's ear. Yi Mo was shook. He just found that Ji Shi was next to him. If Ji Shi was to ambush him, he would be over. Don't look at me with such expression. No one dares to ambush here. Otherwise, it would cause public outrage, and everyone else would attack him. Ji Shi explained. Yi Mo's sound transmission, Saint Ji Shi, we don't seem to be that good. Do you want to give your gourd to me? If that's the case, I need to thank you. Unexpectedly, Ji Shi wasn't angry and said calmly, I know you have a lot of secret, and even killed a gust of Yin Shi. Yi Mo was shocked. He did this in his spirit sense realm. How did Ji Shi know? If she knew, did other people know too? Yi Mo subconsciously looked around. Ji Shi said plainly, don't worry. I have a magic artifact to learn the Yin Chi of the bridge, and my body is extremely Yin, so I can sense deeper on the bridge. However, I can't go on the bridge. Speaking of this, Ji Shi sound transmission, you can form your own spirit sense domain and sever Yin Chi inside it. It seems you have a way to get on the bridge. You can have my gourd, but I need to do a deal with you. You want me to take you on the bridge? Yi Mo said coldly. This was a life or death thing. No matter how much he wanted the gourd, he wouldn't take Ji Shi on the life-crippling bridge. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2063 Cross Bridge. 2063 Cross Bridge, the life-crippling bridge, was already this dangerous. It was dangerous for him to go alone. If he brought another, it would be twice as dangerous. The prenatal spirit treasure was good, but it wasn't as important as his life. I'm not asking you to agree now. People here would at least watch for a few decades to a few centuries before they dare to go on the bridge. After you study it, if you're confident we can do the deal, I don't need you to take care of me. You just need to bring over my lotus stand. Ji Shi said. Yi Mo understood. Ji Shi wanted to hide in her lotus stand, and then he could take it, which was the same as taking her. This is a good idea. He could hide in his golden page world and control it to cross the bridge. You can go yourself first. If there's danger, then go into your lotus stand. Yi Mo said. Ji Shi said plainly, if one can enter another dimension, then the life-crippling bridge wouldn't have that name. No one can enter their own world on the If bridge. You can't use spirit sense on the life-crippling bridge. I'm not close to you. Why do you trust me so much? Are you interested in me? Plus, aren't you scared that I would steal your lotus stand? Plus, you've only been in here for this long, and you want to leave already? Yi Mo doubted why Ji Shi asked him to bring her across the bridge. He didn't believe she would leave her life to his hands. Ji Shi said calmly, you don't need to misunderstand. I won't be interested in anyone. As long as I'm in the lotus stand, no one can steal it from me. If one tries to spirit control it, I can detonate it and you wouldn't be able to get your gourd. As for why I want to go out desperately, it's my business. I trust you because your spirit sense can for a realm here and your expertise in formation is unmatched. Yi Mo asked in confusion, does one need to be good at formation to cross the life-crippling bridge? How come I've never heard of this? What does my spirit sense forming realm have to do with crossing the bridge? Didn't you say spirit sense can't be used on the bridge? Ji Shi said slowly, you can't cross the bridge by walking straight. It said those who are masters of formation can find the right pass. If you take me on the lotus stand, I can help you check the right track inside. If your spirit sense can form realm, you can protect your soul. Even if you can't release your spirit sense, you would have much greater chance of survival than others. Yi Mo fell into silence. If he didn't collaborate with Ji Shi, then he would have to ask about that path thing. Saint Ji, I agree to the collaboration, but we need to be honest with each other. First, what is that set path you were talking about? Give me a jade slip in it. Second, why are you in a rush to cross the bridge? You must tell me the truth. Yi Mo thought for a while and said in a more polite tone. She came from a big sect. This means Ji Shi probably knew what was good in the life-crippling forbidden grounds. You want to share too? Gee, she said calmly, how to cross the life-crippling bridge is the heritage from my sect. I can't tell you about it. As for why I need to cross the bridge, I can tell you. Because in the countless years of the immortal goddess sacred sect, they have never abandoned a saint unless she died. Oh, I understand. You were abandoned by the immortal goddess sacred sect, so you're annoyed and want to go back and see what happened. Yemo asked. Gee, she shook her head. I'm not annoyed. I'm afraid something happened to the sect, so I have to go back and look. As long as I'm alive, I won't allow anything to happen to the sect. Yemo sneered. If a Tao Essence Divine Emperor annihilated your immortal goddess sacred sect, can you go bite him? Gee, she said calmly. Tao Essence Divine Emperor can't annihilate the immortal goddess sacred sect. She was really confident. Yemo didn't want to waste time talking and said, give me the gourd. You can enter the lotus stand. I agree to your conditions. You're crossing the bridge now? Gee, she was shocked by Yemo's words. Yemo had only been here for half a day, and he wanted to cross the bridge. This was too absurd. Of course, if you're not willing, I won't wait for you. I will cross myself. Yemo said. He desired to cross the bridge much more. It was unbearable for him to keep staying here. Yemo knew that cultivating in the God Necropolis domain was much better than going out, but he didn't feel safe about MOU Immortal Sect. There was also the Luo-U continent unable to immortal ascension. Did Kaimi solve the problem? He was worried the most about Truth Divine Emperor. Was he reborn? He didn't fear Truth Divine Emperor now, but he was worried about Yemo. From Su Jingwen, Yemo knew that Yemo got Truth Divine Emperor's Immortal Carnage Tower. Regardless if Yemo ascended or not, Truth Divine Emperor can probably sense his Immortal Carnage Tower if he was Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. That would be a disaster for Yemo. Yemo didn't believe that Yemo could completely spirit control the Immortal Carnage Tower to prevent Truth Divine Emperor from sensing it. With all this piled up, how could Yemo have the mood to cultivate here? Yemo saw that Jishi frowned and didn't reply, so he couldn't be bothered waiting for her. Seeing Yemo really walk towards the life-crippling bridge, Jishi quickly said, wait, I agree, but I can't give you the gourd now. I'll give it to you after we cross the bridge. Okay, Yemo said. Seeing this, Jishi went into her lotus stand, which transformed into a palm-sized lotus and fell into Yemo's hand. Tao friend Yi, you're going on the life-crippling bridge as soon as you got here? Gonyang asked in shock. Yemo said helplessly, yes, Tao friend Gonyang. I have some desperate matters to attend to. If I don't go to the life-crippling forbidden grounds, I might not be able to get out. I know me. If I can't go over now, then I wouldn't be able to get over 100 years later. Okay, Tao friend Yi, you're a decisive person. We definitely should be friends. But I don't do things as decisively as you. Gonyang raised his thumb. As though remembering something, he added, Tao friend Yi, do you have something unfinished? If you fall off the river, and I can do it for you, I will definitely help you. Yemo thought. He was originally going to ask Gonyang and to help with the immortal realm, but then he gave up the thought. It wasn't appropriate. I don't have anything special. Chongfei Divine Tao City has this Zhu Dragon God Tower that wants to kill me. I'll kill them after I go out this time. If I can't go out, then Tao friend Gonyang can help me with this. I'll be very grateful. Yemo said. Gonyang laughed. This is a small thing. As long as I can get out, it will be on me. Yemo saluted with his fist. Then thank you, Tao friend Gonyang. I'll be going first. Then, Yemo grabbed the lotus and quickly got on the bridge and disappeared into the mist. This Tao friend Yi is a straightforward person. Gonyang raised his thumb. If it wasn't that he could subtly sense some laws on the bridge, he might have crossed it like Yemo. As soon as Yemo got on, he was blown by the countless yin chi and felt his essence spirit uncontrollably wobble inside his body. There was nothing he could do. Yemo thought of the path she talked about. She said she could contact him, but he didn't feel it. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2064, so close. 2064. So, close G11 was also desperate. She found that the means the immortal goddess sacred sect taught her couldn't contact. Yemo knew that he couldn't rely on her to point the way, so he stopped. He used his body refinement cultivation method and formed a barrier around his body. The Inchi was blocked by the barrier and weakened. Yemo then released a few spirit sense blades and formed a spirit sense realm inside the barrier. Yemo breathed easy. Luckily, his spirit will 9 transformations was still useful. When the spirit sense realm formed, Yemo's essence spirit no longer floated around. Yemo sped up, but as he went further, he felt it harder and harder to hold up the barrier. His spirit sense realm was also squeezed. Later on, his essence spirit became floaty again. Yemo breathed and stopped. At this moment, Jishi's voice sounded, "Stand on the Yin line, walk along the wall." Jishi just said these words and her voice fell silent. Clearly, it was very hard for her to even say that. Yemo looked at the bridge and really didn't understand what the Yin line was. Where was the wall? Crack! Yemo's heart sunk. He knew his body refinement barrier had broken. Without it, his spirit sense realm instantly crumbled. 2 lines flashed across Yemo's sight. One had an extremely heavy yin chi. Yemo didn't have time to look at the other one and stepped on the yin chi fine line. When Yemo stepped on this line, he felt that his essence spirit that was almost blown out of his body came back. The extremely yin chi blew past his body. Although there was still some yin chi where he stood, it was much weaker. Yemo breathed easy. This life-crippling bridge was really strange. Although he was Dao molding Divine Emperor, Yemo knew that he was on par with even Dao actualization Divine Emperor. Yet with such power, he was defenseless on the life-crippling bridge. Luckily, she gave him a clue. However, he still didn't understand what walking along the wall was. He could only keep walking along the line. He didn't form Spirit Sense Realm again. It was too damaging to him for his Spirit Sense Realm to break. Luckily, he was a body refinement cultivator and had the power of the 3 birth chant to allow him to barely protect his essence spirit. The Yin line was extremely thin, but as Yemo walked, it grew wider and wider, giving Yemo the feeling that it was wider than the bridge. Yemo didn't dare to keep walking like this. He felt that if he did, he would probably fall into the river soon. Luckily, where he stood had the weakest Yin Chi, his essence spirit could still feel the powerful calling of the river, but it couldn't make his essence spirit leave his body. Yemo forcefully used his spirit sense realm again, and then a long rusty wall suddenly appeared on the line. The wall stretched very long, as though to the ends of heaven. Was this walking along the wall? Yemo walked along the wall without hesitation. The instant Yemo's feet fell along the wall, the Yin line disappeared. 2 hours later, Yemo had to stop as the wall disappeared again. There was endless Yin Chi hallowing around him. His essence, spirit, and soul was rattling again for the 3rd time, as though about to jump off into the river. Yemo forced himself to calm down. He knew that one could only keep walking forward on the bridge. Where he walked would disappear. If he walked back, he would just fall into the river. He knew that he couldn't stand still for long, or he wouldn't be able to resist that calling. You're quite amazing to be able to get over here. You probably walked over using the Yin line. There's no more road. Stay here with the Emperor. An extremely ancient voice sounded by Yemo's ear. Yemo was shocked and found that where the wall disappeared, a skeleton appeared. It was extremely thin and sat at the corner of the wall. Yemo didn't need to ask to know that it was another Divine Emperor that had crossed the bridge. He couldn't go on anymore and had to sit down as he watched himself become skeleton. But Yemo still admired this person. His body was gone, but his essence spirit was still here. I did indeed. Yemo just said a few words and suddenly stopped. He found he couldn't make a sound. You're a mere Dao molding Divine Emperor, and you dare to talk on the life-crippling bridge? If you didn't walk along the wall, you would have jumped off already. Little kid, you won't be able to stop here for long. Before you die, find a place to sit and chat with me for a bit. I haven't spoken to anyone in tens of thousands of years. The skeleton laughed. Suddenly, a bleak, lethal force attacked him. Yemo instantly realized that this skeleton was ambushing him as they were talking. At this moment, Yemo couldn't care about not leaving the wall. He quickly left and went around the skeleton. He couldn't think about why the skeleton attacked him. The instant he left the wall, he could no longer feel that lethal force. Endless inchi blew over, and Yemo's soul loosened up. Yemo burned his essence blood and god essence. After that, the body refinement barrier formed again, and he used his spirit sense realm again. When he used this and saw what was before him, he immediately sweated cold. He was standing at the edge of the bridge. If he took one more step, he would fall off into the river. Yemo quickly went back. Feeling the intense inchi scraping his body and the soul eroding calls of the river, Yemo knew that his barrier and spirit sense realm would only last 10 seconds. If he didn't charge out of the bridge before his spirit sense realm broke, he would definitely jump off. Yemo dashed forward like crazy. As he sped up, his barrier made cracking sounds. Crack! When Yemo heard this, he fell into despair. Even when he burned his life, he couldn't make it very far. Suddenly, a dark blue appeared before Yemo's eyes. Yemo rejoiced. Was he on the other side? Swoosh! Maureen she blew over, and Yemo saw that dark blue color was so close, but it was something he could never reach. Yemo looked at the lotus in his hand and threw it over. Whether she lived or died was her fate. He couldn't care. Yemo didn't even care that he didn't get the gourd. His life was gone. The inchi grew heavier. Yemo didn't dare to move. If he moved, his essence spirit would be taken by the inchi. Yemo wanted to burn his life, but his essence spirit was floating on the surface on his body. He couldn't even touch the golden page world, much less go in. Just when Yemo was about to accept fate, a small crack appeared before him. Yemo didn't care anymore. He used all his power to charge into that crack. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. 2065 Fall in the Zhao Shadow Ranges. 2065 Fall in the Zhao Shadow Ranges. The instant Yemo entered that crack, he wanted to go into the golden page world, but there was this terrifying spinning power from the crevice that almost tore him to pieces. If he wasn't a mortal god body peak stage, he would be in pieces now. The serious side effects of burning EB and essence chi began to show. As soon as he used spirit sense, he felt this wave of dizziness. That spinning power grew, but there was nothing he could do. In a short while, he lost consciousness. Only his body refinement cultivation method was running automatically and barely protected his body. Luckily, there was just rotational power here, no space disposition and things. Zhao Shadow Range wasn't very famous in Xinjiang continent, but rarely did people not know. This was because the Yin Qi here was very heavy and was said to be connected to the underworld. It's said that everyone who died on this continent would go into the underworld from here to be reincarnated. Souls would come here for a while before entering the underworld. Usually, cultivators who died not long ago would stay here for a while. Living people can come here and communicate with the dead. This communication was limited, and it required powerful beings' soul-calling rune to work. Not only so, one must go past the gray forest in here. The gray forest was also a very cold and scary place on the continent. There were large amounts of ghost cultivators and Een souls. Een souls couldn't enter samsara and thus roam in the gray forests. As for ghost cultivators, they're people who don't want to go through reincarnation. The Een Chi was too heavy and the gravity was extremely heavy too in the gray forest, so ordinary cultivators couldn't fly at all. Thus, it was very hard to cross the forest and come to the Zhao Shadow Ranges. On this continent, everyone knew the ranges was the place to communicate to the dead, but rarely did people talk about it. At this moment, there was a white-robed woman with a 10-year-old boy in the forest. They were rushing forward worriedly. There was a huge light barrier that protected them, and there were unknown things smashing against the barrier. These shadows were very thin. The woman could see with her spirit sense, but the little boy knew nothing. The barrier was getting thinner and thinner. Sister Qionging, can we really see my brother once we cross this forest? The little boy asked. The white-robed woman nodded. Yes, Hui, we just need to cross this forest, and we can talk to your brother. The boy nodded and sped up. Hui, you must not fight with Peng Xian and them next time, the woman added. The boy said Peng Xian dared to say that sister slept with Xin High City's Master Ming just to get him to help. I was angry, so I beat him up. The woman's figure paused, and her pale face grew paler, but she sped up. The boy seemed to know that sister was unhappy and didn't speak anymore. 15 minutes later, their barrier finally couldn't hold on and cracked. Luckily, they were out of the gray forest now, but those shadows didn't dare to dash out of the forest. The bleak chi shivered the woman, but she released a shield. Sister Qiangying, is this the Zhao Shadow Ranges? The little boy looked at this spooky place and asked in terror. The woman looked around this bleak environment shrouded in mist, and then said to the boy, Hui, let's call here. The boy didn't understand these things, and could only nod. The woman took out a rune and looked at it for a long while before releasing it. A bleak mist chi spewed out from the rune, and then the mist chi dissipated. The woman stood there in a daze for a long time. She didn't expect that she worked so hard, used all her savings, and was almost taken advantage of by that bastard, and only got a fake soul-calling rune in the end. Sister Qiangying, what happened? The boy asked worriedly. The white-robed woman sighed. She looked back at the gray forest. She knew that it was extremely hard for them to leave. At this moment, a whirlpool suddenly appeared in the void. The entire range was moved by this whirlpool. The bleak kais even made a whimpering sound. Thud! There was this extremely loud sound in this distance. The white-robed woman saw that the whirlpool disappeared again. Sister Qiangying, what is that? The boy asked worriedly. The woman checked with her spirit sense and said shakily, it seems to be a person, but that person fell into a small swamp. Only his head is outside. Sister Qiangying, didn't you say only souls can go into the Zhao Shadow Ranges? How can there be a person there? The boy felt her nervousness and clutched her robes tightly. I don't know, don't move. Stay here. The white-robed woman said quietly, as though fearing she would be heard by others. Then, she pulled the boy to a corner and put the shield up in front of them. She took out a low-grade spirit artifact with her other hand and stared nervously at the swamp. When Yimo opened his eyes, he felt the bleak chi around him and immediately thought he was in the life-crippling river. However, he soon realized he wasn't. Although his essence chi was greatly depleted and his sea of consciousness was seriously injured and had less than 1/1,000,000th of his power, these yin chi couldn't harm him at all. If it was the life-crippling river, how could it be this safe? Yimo struggled up from the swamp and wanted to go into the golden page world immediately, but then his sea of consciousness ached. Yimo knew this was due to him using Spirit Sense Realm again, and then going into the crevice. At least he was alive. His body refinement cultivation method ran automatically when he went into the crevice and blocked the damage of the whirlpool. However, he stayed in there for too long, causing his body, sea of consciousness, and essence chi to be greatly injured. Yimo sat down and rested for 15 minutes. The chaos tree constantly nourished him, and his spirit sense recovered a little bit. With that, he immediately went into the golden page world. He cleansed himself and changed into new clothes before feeling something wrong. When he crawled up, there was no immortal spirit chi. It was the most basic spirit chi, and it was extremely arid. There was more yin chi. Yimo came out of the golden page world before even talking to small ginseng and shadowless. He suspected that he came back to Luo Yu continent. Otherwise, how could there only be spirit chi? Coming out of the golden page world, Yimo almost fell on the ground. Yimo knew that it was because he was too heavily injured, even though he ate many pills and the chaos tree kept nourishing his meridians and essence chi. He needed to go into solitary cultivation. Yimo's spirit sense recovered a bit and could at least see the surrounding few hundred kms. He scanned his spirit sense out and saw a white-robed woman with a little boy hiding and looking nervously at him. Yimo frowned. He just went into the golden page world and came out. He didn't know if she saw this. But soon, he saw that the woman was only golden core state primary stage, and her chi was unstable. Clearly, she just reached golden core state. Was this really Luoyu continent? Yimo rejoiced. If it was, he could go back to Mou City really quickly. Yimo sped up going out. Even though he was heavily injured, he was a Tao Vindication Divine Emperor. A truth realization state peak stage was still an insect to him. He had no concerns in the cultivation realm. Seeing the man in the mud actually walk out, the white-robed woman and boy was even more nervous. When she saw that Yimo was a human with chi, she relaxed a little and pulled the little boy and stood up. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2066 Familiar People at Shunxiong. Chapter 2066 Familiar People at Shunxiong. How Qiangying greet Qianbei. The white-robed woman bowed to Yimo. She then stood waiting for Yimo to answer nervously. Although Yimo looked all too ordinary and didn't have any fierce chi on him, How Qiangying was still very nervous. This person suddenly appeared in here and fell into the swamp, but he could still walk out casually. She was golden core state and could only walk at the very border of the ranges. She didn't dare to go in at all. Yimo glanced at this woman. Her hair was casually braided. She didn't dress herself up intentionally. Her face was pale and had some nervousness. She looked not bad, but was a far cry compared to Ji Shi and Jinbingyu. May I ask, where is this place? Why is there so much yin chi here? Yimo asked. Hearing this, Hao Qiangying finally breathed easy. Yimo's tone was rather polite. Hao Qiangying then realized that Yimo's words were a bit strange. Who didn't know this place was the Zhao Shadow Ranges. She then realized again that she shouldn't daze. She bowed and answered, this is Zhao Shadow Ranges. Zhao Shadow Ranges? Is this Luoyu continent? Yimo frowned and had a bad feeling. He had never heard of this place on Luoyu continent. Hao Qiangying wasn't dumb. With this, she immediately realized that Yimo wasn't from Shunxiong continent. Thinking about how Yimo fell from the sky, how could she not know that this Qian Bei probably came from Luoyu continent? She suppressed her horror and said with even more respectful tone, Qian Bei, this is Shunxiong cultivation realm, not Luoyu continent. Wanbei had heard of Luoyu continents. It said that it's a similar place not far from Shunxiong continent. Yimo could see her nervousness and smiled. Don't be nervous. I used a space-breaking rune and accidentally came here. Yimo didn't want to scare her. If she knew who he really was, she might not even be able to talk. Hearing this, Hao Qiangying breathed easier. If one used the space-breaking rune, even a Nye Shuang cultivator could cross realms, but those people who had such runes weren't simple, so Yimo was still mysterious to her. Why is this forest so bleak? There's no one in 1,000 km radius. What is going on? Yimo's spirit sense recovered quickly. It was only 300 kilometers before, but now was beyond 1,000 kilometers. This was him not focusing on recovering too. The chaos tree was indeed absurd. Hao Qiangying didn't dare to hide it and quickly said, Qian Bei, this range is the place to seek souls. It's said that it's connected to the underworld. Hearing this, Yimo frowned. He felt he landed at a strange place. The life-crippling river and bridge were filled with yin chi and the place of lost souls. It said that those who fall down would lose their souls and disappear from the universe forever. The swamp here had very dense yin chi and was the fabled entrance to the underworld. But Yimo doubted if this place was related to the divine Tao realm's life-crippling river. Yimo had heard of the underworld and knew that it was a very ethereal realm. It's unheard of that someone could enter it. Even if cultivators reincarnated, they could rarely remember anything about the underworld. Yimo's cultivation level had dropped quickly, but his power was at least a great unity immortal. He scanned this place with his spirit sense. There's some yin souls here, but they're all very dazed. I don't see an entrance to the underworld. Is there something wrong with this legend? Even if this fable is right, I'm certain your husband's soul isn't here. Yes, Qianbei. Wanbei knows now. Hao Qiangying said quietly. Regardless if her husband's soul was here or not, she wouldn't be able to summon it. Yemo nodded in that case. Take me out? Yemo knew someone here. Meng Zhun was from Xinqiang continent, and his disciple Meng Tsang came from here too. Meng Qi was also at Xinqiang continent. Meng Zhun and Meng Tsang had ascended and were at MOU Immortal Sect now, but Meng Qi hadn't ascended. He could go find her. When he recovered his power, he could cover the continent instantly. Then, Yemo seemed to realize his words weren't too polite, so he added, when you go out, I will give you something. You won't do it for free. Hao Qianying quickly said, Qianbei, Wanbei should take Qianbei out. I don't dare to take Qianbei's things. But there's many Yin souls in the forest, and some ghost cultivators. If Yemo smiled, it's fine. Just lead the way, they won't dare to come. Yes. Hao Qianying couldn't have gone out alone, and now that Yemo told her not to worry, she was willing to take him out even more. Qianbei, my sister was tricked. Can you help her and teach that person a lesson? The boy suddenly said. Hey, don't say that. Hao Qianying quickly stopped. She was afraid that if her brother-in-law offended Yemo, it would be over. Yemo took out a storage ring and gave it to the boy. You need to get revenge yourself. You're already Qi, gathering middle stage. I'll give you a storage ring. There's cultivation method in here and some resources. When you're strong, get revenge yourself. Thank you, Qianbei, Hao Qianying said. The three walked into the gray forest, and Hao Qianying became nervous. She sped up as she didn't want to stay here 1 extra minute. 5 minutes later, she was confused. When she passed the forest, many shadows dashed on her barrier. Now, there was no barrier, but they didn't see any Yin souls nor ghost cultivators. Yemo was Divine Emperor, and even though his power decreased a lot, his Divine Emperor domain was still there. With such domain expanding out, what dared to get close? Even if they did, they would turn to dust. With Hao Qianying's power, she wouldn't even be able to sense Yemo's domain. Yemo wasn't too unlucky, and neither was Ji. When her lotus was thrown to the other end, her spirit sense scanned out immediately. She saw a blue color and immediately rejoiced. She knew that this meant she was at the life-crippling forbidden grounds. Before she could think, another crevice appeared before the lotus, and before she could react, the lotus fell into that crack. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2067, Behind the Divine Sect. Chapter 2067, Behind the Divine Sect. Without the lotus stand, Jishi would have turned to nothing in the spinning space. However, the lotus stand was a top-level magic artifact, and despite spinning in the void, it didn't slow down at all nor get damaged. The Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect's prison door mountain was at the border of the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect. The god spirit Qi was arid there, and it was filled with chaotic and messy Qi. It wasn't good for cultivation nor for living. There was an extremely short hill with a dark passage that led to the depth of this mountain. This short hill was where the Immortal Goddess Sacred Sect locked up sect members who were convicted. 1 foot soul would constantly be burned by Yin fire. Due to arid god spirit Qi, there was no way to defend against the Yin fire. The only way was to just endure it. The people locked up here could only watch as their soul weakened and sea of consciousness withered. Even when the divine Tao realm was complete, the prison door mountain was the crudest place. Outside the mountain, Mu Xiaoyun's eyes were red. She knew that her master was locked up in there due to her, by her martial uncle. Sorry, master, disciple brought this on you, Mu Xiaoyun said after visiting her master. Seeing the way her master was tortured, it was unbearable for her. Lan Qilan's weak voice sounded by Mu Xiaoyun's ears. Xiaoyun, don't feel guilty. I'm already happy that the sect leader can let you visit me. Plus, she's giving me a light sentence. I'm only locked up for 100 years. I can listen to my own Tao voice here. Xiaoyun, I really want you to see your husband again, but as long as I'm here, you must not leave the sect alone. Otherwise, you would never have hope. Although you're the most cruelly treated saint, you're still the saint. Bu's status in the sect is low. Help me look after her. Mu Xiaoyan sniffed yes. Disciple will remember this. She didn't realize what her master was implying. It was that if she died, then Xiaoyan should quickly leave. Lan Qilan didn't say it that way, as she was scared that her every word would be heard. She was also scared that no matter how far Xiaoyan went, she wouldn't be able to escape from the immortal goddess sacred sect. She believed that as long as she was alive, the sect leader wouldn't do anything to Xiaoyan, but if she died, Xiaoyan's fate would be tragic. Go first. The qi here is too messy. Lan Qilan said weakly again. Before Mu Xiaoyan could reply, an extremely rapid light tore open the space from the distant mountain and into the valley of the prison door mountain. The rays were shocking and had Dao waves. Mu Xiaoyan was now great extreme immortal. She knew this was definitely a top treasure. Mu Xiaoyan's only obsession was to see her husband Yimo and didn't really care about other things. Even though she knew that a top-level magic artifact fell, she didn't charge up immediately. Instead, she closely got near where the magic artifact landed with her flying sword. At the same time, in the sect leader palace of immortal goddess sacred sect, a few women sat on the side with one purple-robed woman sitting in the middle. She was the sect leader, Ji Sini. Yinhuai, tell me about what you think. Xiaoyan is only great extreme, immortal middle stage now. Even if she is to reach immortal king, she would need 100 years. The great sun god mountain is too desperate. Our immortal goddess sacred sect already agreed to their request. What else do they want? Is our saint that worthless? The purple-robed woman sneered. Yunhui said respectfully, sect leader. During these years our immortal goddess sacred sect has fallen quickly, but the great sun god mountain has risen quickly. If the Suyu divine Tao still existed, they could take on great sun god mountain. But Suyu divine Tao is more declined than us. Their sect is in rubbles. No wonder the great sun god mountain is so cocky. The primordial essence war didn't involve the Suyu divine Tao. No one dares to fight there. Their annihilation is probably related to the great sun god mountain, right? One Tao actualization divine emperor said. Yunhui said martial sister Nanshuang is right. It said that the Suyu divine Tao had a disciple called Duanmu Yuero. His talent was unparalleled. He reached the highest primordial essence great Tao in a mere tens of thousands of years, and then left the Suyu divine Tao and opened a realm to connect to the underworld. The greatest suspect for annihilating Suyu divine Tao was the great sun god mountain. After they did that, they didn't do anything else. The reason they waited till now was because they were scared Duanmu Yuerong would come back. But after countless years, Duanmu Yuerong never came back. Something probably happened to him as he opened the tunnel to the underworld. That's why the great sun god mountain has no fear and is now attacking us immortal goddess sacred sect. Nanshuang got up and said, sect leader, regardless our immortal goddess sacred sect is the #1 sect of the divine Tao realm now. Even if our power isn't as great as the great sun god mountain who hides in the dark, isn't it too insulting for us to give our saint to the great sun god mountain? No matter how strong they are, it doesn't mean the immortal goddess sacred sect is scared of them. The Suyu divine Tao wasn't scared of them and robbed the word Tan from their sect name. We don't need to be scared of them too. Nanshuang's words were very impolite. The sect leader frowned but didn't say anything. Yunhui sneered, martial sister Nanshuang. You know that Mu Xiaoyan is just a temporary substitute saint, right? The reason we chose her was for her to stay at the immortal goddess peak for 100 years and sacrifice for our sect. And it's too rude for you to be talking to the sect leader like this. Then she added, plus, our immortal goddess sacred sect is the #1 sect of the divine Tao realm. But do you think we're the strongest? We're the #1 sect because Saint Qing sacrificed herself for the divine Tao realm. Our power isn't that strong. Martial sister Nanshuang, do you know how many Tao essence divine emperors the great sun god mountain has? Without enough power, do you think they can annihilate Suyu divine Tao? Nanshuang said coldly, Yunhui, how can I not know what you're thinking? Regardless if you have conflict with martial sister Qilan, since we chose Xiaoyan to be saint, we should treat her as the real saint, not someone to trade with the great sun god mountain. The great sun, God Mountain, might be a lot stronger than us, but I, Wang Nan Shuang, would rather fight to the death than succumb to them. A blue-robed Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor got up and said, Martial Sister Yunhui and Martial Sister Nanshuang are both doing this for the sect. Let's just sit down and listen to the opinion of the sect leader. Nanshuang sighed and sat down. How could she not know what the sect leader wanted? Jishi's soul lamp wasn't gone, but the sect leader took the flame from the lamp and forcefully lit up the lamp with half of Mu Xiaoyun's soul. Clearly, she wanted to use Mu Xiaoyun as a substitute offering to the great sun God Mountain. However, her power was too low. Even with her Tao actualization divine emperor power, it was nothing in the immortal goddess sacred sect. She believed that martial sister Qilan guessed this and tried to prevent Xiaoyun from becoming saint. However, the sect leader was determined to protect Ji Shi. She would rather sacrifice a Mu Xiaoyun who has lost her virginity. The great sun God Mountain requires our saint, but it's not like they're not giving any compensation. They don't dare to have too much conflict with us yet. Yinhui, go tell them to wait till our saint becomes a status immortal. The sect leader said. Then, she looked at Wang Nanshuang and said, Nanshuang, I'm not giving the saint to the great sun God Mountain. We'll drag it on for as much as we can. Perhaps things would change after 100 years. Otherwise, if the immortal goddess sacred sect is annihilated due to me, I would be the greatest sinner of the immortal goddess sacred sect. Yes, sect leader. Yinhui quickly answered. Wang Nanshuang could only sigh helplessly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2068 Encounter with the Sane. Chapter 2068 Encounter with the Sane. Mu Xiaoyan hadn't even walked there yet and saw another explosion. Beams of rainbow light shot out, and a figure appeared in the light. Mu Xiaoyan stopped. She saw that it was an extremely beautiful woman. The immortal goddess sacred sect lacked beautiful women the least, but this woman was prettier than all the women she had seen at immortal goddess sacred sect. Who are you? Why did you appear at the immortal goddess sacred sect? Mu Xiaoyan subconsciously asked. She just came out of the lotus stand and was looking around. She didn't even care about Mu Xiaoyan. No Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor would worry about a great extreme immortal. I'm back at the divine sect? She murmured in disbelief. She had always lived at the immortal goddess sacred sect. The land was big, but she knew every part of it. This was the back of the prison door mountain, the most distant part of the immortal goddess sacred sect. She was very shocked to have appeared here after her lotus stand went into that void fissure. She was a bit dazed, but Mu Xiaoyan said nothing. She didn't feel any sense of belonging to the immortal goddess sacred sect. It really is the immortal goddess sacred sect, and the back of the prison door mountain. She breathed. She felt she was too lucky. There were countless realm fissures at the life-crippling, forbidden grounds, but they led to different realms. Yet she could come back to the immortal goddess sacred sect. When she left the immortal goddess sacred sect, she was only an immortal emperor, and now that she came back, she was Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor. Suddenly, she thought of Yimo. When Yimo threw her lotus stand out, she was very grateful. If he didn't throw it, her lotus stand would fall into the life-crippling river too. Despite Yimo did this for the gourd. Yimo fulfilled his promise, but she didn't give the gourd to him. She sighed. Although Yimo fell down the river, and it had nothing to do with her, Yimo didn't have to throw her back up. She would find Yimo's descendants and give the gourd to them. If Yimo didn't have descendants, then once she reached Tao Essence Divine Emperor, she would go there again and throw the gourd down the river. Casting these thoughts aside, she suddenly asked, did you just join the immortal goddess sacred sect? I remember you weren't here before I left. Mu Xiaoyan saw she was frowning and didn't disturb her. Now that she asked, she quickly said, so Qianbei is from immortal goddess sacred sect too. Wanbei just joined the sect for 100 years. Wait, why do you have the chi of the saint? Do you live at Immortal Goddess Peak? She asked. Mu Xiaoyan knew that living at the immortal goddess peak would give her this Saint Qi. This immortal goddess peak was surrounded by the best marrow-cleansing god range. Even if you didn't cultivate, you would have more temperament and better cultivation talent staying there. Mu Xiaoyan could see that she was even more powerful than her master. She quickly answered, Wanbei Mu Xiaoyan is now the saint of the immortal goddess sacred sect. You're the new saint? So it's you. She looked at Mu Xiaoyan dazedly. She could feel that Mu Xiaoyan was no longer a virgin. How could the sect let someone like her be the saint? This saint wasn't even status immortal yet. This was absurd. She frowned and suddenly waved up a few restrictions and said to Mu Xiaoyan, tell me how you became the saint and what the sect leader did. Mu Xiaoyan wasn't dumb. She was this powerful and pretty. With how she kept talking about the saint, she guessed some things. After she set up the restriction. She checked she with her spirit sense boldly and found that she indeed had similar chi to him. Mu Xiaoyan instantly realized that the flame the sect leader took from the soul lamp didn't go out. This woman was probably the previous saint. She knew this, but she didn't stop it. She wanted to tell Mu Xiaoyan she was the last saint. Mu Xiaoyan greets Sister Saint. Mu Xiaoyan quickly bowed. She nodded. Tell me everything you know. I won't blame you. Yes, Mu Xiaoyan said. After hearing Mu Xiaoyan's story, she frowned. Xiaoyan, you're saying that the sect leader took out my lamp when it was still lit and forcefully lit up yours? Mu Xiaoyan fell silent. That's what she said before. What are you doing at the prison door, Mountain? She asked. The sect leader used half my soul to light up the land. My master tried to argue for me. Later, she was judged to be locked in there for 100 years. I came to see my master. If it wasn't for Martial Uncle Yunhui, I wouldn't be saint and master wouldn't be in there. Mu Xiaoyan said slowly. She frowned even more and fell into a long silence. Why was half your soul used? Did it only take a sliver of spirit will to light it up? Mu Xiaoyan didn't answer, and she didn't need her to answer. She sighed and said, Marital Uncle Qilan is in here. I'm going to see her. She glanced at Mu Xiaoyan and said, Xiaoran, did you mean that you want me to become a saint again? You know, if I tell this to Martial Uncle Yunhui, you would be dead for sure. Mu Xiaoyan wasn't worried at all. I never wanted to be saint. If I didn't have to see my husband, so what if I died? Hearing this, she looked at Mu Xiaoyan with greater light. Where is your husband? She didn't understand Mu Xiaoyan's feelings, but still asked. He's in a mortal realm. I don't know if he reached Golden Core state or not. If not, I'm afraid. Mu Xiaoyan thought that even if she gave the same position to Yimo might not be alive. She could no longer control her sorrow. She was scared that she wouldn't be able to see Yimo again. Seeing this, she shook her head speechlessly and sighed. You've helped me be saint for this long. I'll go to Master's place and take back half your soul. Thanks for your help. I can check for you if your husband is alive. As long as your husband didn't reach Nye Shuang, I can check it. Take out something of your husband's. I need a sliver of his chi, huh? You can check that. Mu Xiaoyan was completely dazed. Why didn't her master tell her this? Then Mu Xiaoyan realized she was too rude and said shakily, Sister Saint, please check where my husband Yimo is. This is a magic artifact he gave me. Mu Xiaoyan's voice and heart was shaky when she took it out. If her husband was really no longer in the world, she didn't want to stay here at all. She really didn't understand why Mu Xiaoyan was so devoted to this man. The reason she could check if the man was alive or not wasn't due to her own capabilities, but that she had the 9 lotus stand. She could use it to check the life or death of cultivators who haven't formed nascent soul yet. What did you say your husband was called? She suddenly reacted. This was too much of a coincidence. She seemed to have said her husband was called Yimo. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2069 The Universe is very small. Chapter 2069 The Universe is very small. You're out of the gray forest like this? How Xiaoming stared at the forest behind her in shock. Yemo felt the slightly denser spirit chi and didn't feel as bad as before. After feeling the world laws around him, he opened his eyes and nodded. Immortals coming to the cultivation realm would be suppressed and even forcefully ascended. But the cultivation realm's world laws were very clear in his will. He didn't feel any suppression in terms of power. In here, he could casually write the top cultivation methods suitable to the surrounding laws. This had nothing to do with wisdom, it was just power. Although his spirit sense was only 1,000 kilometers, the same as a nascent soul cultivator, his power could easily kill Great Unity Immortal. After he learned the cultivation realm world laws, Yemo was more certain that even if his cultivation level completely recovered to Tao molding Divine Emperor, he wouldn't be limited by the world laws here, as his knowledge of world laws had already surpassed this realm and even the immortal realm. For a Tao molding Divine Emperor or Tao nourishment Divine Emperor, even if the cultivation realm could be forged into a small world or truth spirit world, they wouldn't want it as the cultivation realm was too low caliber. Only the immortal realm would be attractive to divine emperors below Tao essence. Seeing Yimazuri close his eyes, Hao Qiangying didn't dare to talk. After realizing the laws here were useless to him, he nodded to Hao Qiangying, "Take me to your cultivation city." Then, Yemo casually waved out an extreme grade flying spirit artifact. He had way too much immortal artifacts. Extreme grade spirit artifacts were like trash to him, but Yemo didn't want to kill people. If he took out too many good things here, people would come to rob it. Then he would kill. Even though he was a Tao molding divine emperor, his heart didn't change. He could kill all those who tried to rob him, but after he was gone, Hao Qiangying and her brother would suffer. "Goddess Qiangying, I want to ask about a few people," Yemo said when they were all on the flying spirit artifact. "Qianbei, just call me Qiangying," Hao Qiangying quickly said. "Okay." Yemo nodded. "Have you heard of Mu Xiaoyan?" Mu Xiaoyan definitely ascended to the immortal realm, or she wouldn't be at Wujia Sound River. Since he didn't see her at Luo Yu continent, she probably ascended from another continent. Unexpectedly, Hao Qiangying immediately said, "I've heard of Goddess Mu. She was one of the top 3 prodigies in 1,000 years. She was the pride of Lotus Glory sect. Due to Goddess Mu, Lotus Glory sect is one of the best 9-star sections." Mu Xiaoyan really came to Xinjiang continent. Yemo rejoiced. He had decided to go visit Mu Xiaoyan's cultivation grounds. Yes, but Goddess Mu had already ascended. She was ranked second for the top 3 prodigies of the continent. Hao Qiangying was full of respect. Yemo calmed down his excitement and asked in confusion, "Xiaoyan's cultivation speed is that fast? How is she only ranked second? Who is the first?" Hao Qiangying immediately knew that Yemo was close to Mu Xiaoyan, or he wouldn't call her Xiaoyan. Hao Qiangying quickly answered, "The first is a solo cultivator called Dongfang Wang. He's very mysterious, but his talent is absurd. He didn't join any sect and ascended to the immortal realm in a short time." "What?" Yemo almost got up. He never was able to find Dongfang Wang. He didn't expect this bastard ran to Shun Qiong continent. Not only so, he also ascended to the immortal realm. When he returned to the immortal realm, he would kill this Dongfang Wang immediately. Yemo knew how powerful Dongfang Wang was. The 3 brothers were the best tacticians. Dongfang Wang was the best among the 3. Now, even his cultivation speed was this fast. He would be a greater threat in the future. He would have to annihilate him before he grew strong. Seeing Yemo's face sink when he heard Dongfang Wang, Hao Qiangying didn't dare to keep talking. Seeing Hao Qiangying was a bit scared, Yemo waved his hand. "Don't be scared. Don't call me Qianbei. I'm Yemo." "Yes, Martial Brother Yi," Hao Qiangying said respectfully. "Who is the 3rd prodigy?" Yemo asked. Hao Qiangying answered, "A prodigy from Lingxiao sect Mangsong." All 3 Qianbais had ascended to the immortal realm. Yemo was speechless. He actually knew all 3. When Yemo asked about Meng Zhen or Meng Qi, Hao Qiangying didn't know. After asking for the whereabouts of Lotus Glory sect, Yemo stopped asking. He had decided to recover his injuries first at the Exin High City and then go to the sect and ask about Xiaoyan. Yemo knew that the reason Xiaoyan was a prodigy was 1 due to her pure wood spirit root, and second due to the primordial chaos chant he left her. When he first got it, Yimo didn't care about the cultivation method. He thought Meng Qian was bluffing, but now that he vindicated Dao, he knew that Meng Zhan didn't bluff at all. Every sentence of the primordial chaos chant was very deep and contained all sorts of cultivation laws. No wonder it had no element. Different people would have different results cultivating this. Yimo was very grateful to Lotus Glory sect. He hadn't been there, but he could feel how well they protected Mu Xiaoyan. Otherwise, with her cultivation method, she would have been devoured to the bones. Not only did they not greed after her cultivation method, they were also protecting her. Yimo only used an extreme-grade flying spirit artifact, but in his hands, it was no weaker than an immortal artifact. In half a day, a medium-sized cultivation city appeared in his eyes. Qianbei, this is Xian High City. My husband is from Bai Yin sect. Not long ago, he died in the Shun Xiong sect tournament. We moved out from the sect and now live in the city. Hao Qiangying suppressed her shock and said, after chatting with Yimo for this long, she could feel Yimo was an amicable person, so she gradually let loose and wasn't that scared of Yimo. But when Yimo flew this spirit artifact and came to Xian High City in half a day, she was too shocked. Even extreme, great spirit artifact would take a few days to come here from the Gray Forest. Hearing this, Yimo suddenly thought of something and asked Qiangying, have you heard of a woman called Qi Wanqing? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2070 Lift of a Hand. Chapter 2070 Lift of a Hand. How Qiangying shook her head. Martial Brother Yi. I haven't heard of her. Do you know which sect she is from? I don't know. Yimo felt sad. He didn't find Qi Wanqing on Luo Yu continent and hoped she would be here. Don't worry, Martial Brother Yi. The continent is having sect tournament. This tournament would go for half a month. Almost all the sects would participate. If Qi Wanqing is in a sect, Martial Brother, you can find out about her. Hao Qiangying quickly said. Yimo thought, when his power recovered, his spirit sense can easily cover the entire continent. How could he be scared he wouldn't find Qi Wanqing then? You said your husband died in this tournament? Yimo asked. Yes, Hao Qiangying said. Yimo thought for a moment. Let's go find a place to rest at the Xian High City and then take me to the sect tournament. Yimo needed some time to recover. He didn't know how long he had been rolling around for in the void. He looked okay on the surface, but without the help of the chaos tree, he wouldn't even be able to get up. Half a day later, Yimo's spirit sense had recovered to 10,000 kilometers. He got up and decided to go to the sect tournament now. Just when Yimo wanted to call Hao Qiangying, he saw a dark-faced, nascent soul cultivator standing at her door. There was a slap print on Hao Qiangying's face. The little boy stared angrily at the cultivator. What happened? Yimo walked to Hao Qiangying's door. Martial Brother Yi, Hao Qiangying called. Yu Hui glared at the cultivator and said, this Meng guy tricked my sister and sold a fake rune to her. Now he's beating her. Yimo's face sunk and asked the cultivator, is that so? Before the cultivator could talk, Hao Qiangying said, Martial Brother Yi, let's go in and talk. It has nothing to do with him. The cultivator sneered at Yimo. You need to be capable to sleep a widow. I've already decided she's mine. Piss off. Really? A mere nascent soul dared to be cocky in front of him. He didn't even bother to ask about this and just threw out a fireball. Haha. The cultivator saw this and laughed. He didn't expect there would be someone to throw fireballs. This fireball wouldn't even create a speck of dust on him. Even if he didn't attack, Yimo would be dead too. Those who dared to fight in the Xian High City Spirit Rest Tower would be dead for sure. The city strictly forbids magic artifact. If violated, death. Hao Qiangying saw Yimo dare to use fireball. Her face went pale. As long as Yimo used magic art, then no matter how much right they had, they would be killed. Plus, a fireball wouldn't hurt at all. The cultivator only laughed twice and couldn't laugh anymore. He found he couldn't move at all. He saw his body quickly disintegrate in the flame and in the blink of an eye, everything including his nascent soul and storage ring disappeared. After the fireball was gone, Yemo waved his hand and the dust disappeared. It was as though nothing was there. Hao Qiangying stared dazedly at this and couldn't speak for a long time. This was too shocking. What fireball could annihilate a nascent soul? She had never seen such terrifying fireball. I wasted some time. Qiangying, take me to the sect tournament. Yemo patted Yu Hei's head and said, Martial brother Yi. Hao Qiangying said hardly, and then said Meng Guangji is Xian High City Rune Master Association leader's disciple. The Rune Master Association is very powerful in the Xian High City, and Duan Ganyuan is Truth Realization State Middle Stage Qianbei. We killed Meng Guangji. We probably can't leave the city. Yemo understood how she felt and dazed into reminiscence. When he was fighting his way up in the Luo Yu cultivation realm, it was like this too. He killed a Tian Alfing and began to hide everywhere. To Hao Qiangying, she probably wouldn't even be able to leave after offending this association. But to him, even if he slammed the entire city to the grounds, no one would dare to say a thing. Yemo shook his head. If it was a strange character divine emperor, he might really palm the city flat. Power was everything in the cultivation realm and immortal realm, but when the power was strong to a certain degree with no restriction, it was terror. If the world laws are complete, the immortal realm and divine Tao realm are completed, would it be as easy to come back to the cultivation realm? Yemo murmured, if one day I have the capability, I will perfect the divine Tao realm and the immortal realm. I won't let people come back to low-level realms so easily. Yemo said slowly. He didn't want to see high realm immortals come to the cultivation realm or mortal realm and slaughter everything. Seeing Yemo daze, Hao Qiangying was worried too. After a long while, she said Meng Guangji saw my husband die and wanted to use me as a sex slave. I said I wanted to go to Zhao Shadow Range, so he sold me a soul-calling rune. Later I realized it was fake. He thought I wouldn't be able to cross the gray forest and would come back to him for help. However, I have a top-level defense rune and cross the gray forest. Yemo nodded. This person deserves to die. Let's go. Hao Qiangying's face was pale. We probably can't leave. The people from the Rune Master Association wouldn't let us leave. Yemo indeed saw a few people coming. He just smiled but didn't talk. You can't leave indeed. You dare to kill Master Meng in Xian High City. If I don't slice you to mince, then you raise me up. A skinny man said, I don't raise dogs like you. Yemo said, and threw another fireball. A mere cauldron-filling state dared to be cocky in front of him. Seeing this, Hao Qiangying dazed again. She forgot to tell Yemo that this person was one of the 3 masters of the city. A powerful cauldron-filling state just below the city lord and association leader. How could someone like this be dealt with a fireball? But Yemo threw it out already. Seeing Yemo used a fireball at him, the cauldron-filling state laughed like Meng Guangji. Ever since he became a golden core state, he had never seen anyone use fireball at him. Today was quite fresh. Someone dared to use a fireball against a cauldron-filling state peak stage cultivator. There was such a joke in the world, but his ending was the same as Meng Guangji. He only laughed twice and stopped. Then he stared at Yemo with disbelief, but he could no longer speak. His body turned to dust in this small fireball. The few body condensation state cultivators next to him looked dazedly as the dust flew away, not daring to say a word. I'm going to leave the city. Call the Rune Master Association leader here. If by the time I get to the city gates he still isn't here, then he won't need to come ever. Yemo glanced at them and said, Yes, Qianbei. These cultivators reacted and quickly left. Hao Qiangying's heart was skipping fast. Before it was due to terror of the Rune Master Association, but now, because Yemo easily burned a cauldron-filling state with a fireball. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2071, I like bullying the weak. Chapter 2071. I like bullying the weak. No one dared to stop them from walking out of the Spirit Rest Tower. Before they got to the city gates, two more dashing lights came to the city gates. One was Truth Realization State Level 5, and the other was Disaster Transformation State Level 8. Yemo guessed that the Truth Realization State Level 5 was the association leader, Duan Ganyuan. As for the other person, it was probably the city lord. Xian High City, Lord Gong Hong greet Qianbei. Please forgive me for not welcoming Qianbei into the city. The chubby Disaster Transformation State cultivator saw Yemo come over and immediately bowed. The Truth Realization State Middle Stage studied Yemo calmly. Yemo felt strange. The city lord was a Disaster Transformation State, and the association leader was a Truth Realization State. This Disaster Transformation State should be following Duan Ganyuan. But this Disaster Transformation State greeted him first and left Duan Ganyuan behind him. Duan Ganyuan didn't seem to be angry at all. Dao friend, I'm the association leader of the Rune Master Association, Duan Ganyuan. I heard a few useless disciples tell me that Dao friend had business with me. Duan was scared that when I made it over, Dao friend was out of the city. Luckily, I came in time. Duan Ganyuan saluted with his fists, seemingly scared. However, his horror was fake. His chi was very calm, and instead carried this sharp force on him, as though he was ready to fight. Yemo didn't care about this attitude. He knew that this Truth Realization State and Rune Master didn't need to fear other people. Even if he was Truth Realization State Tertiary Stage, Duan Ganyuan didn't need to be fearful. You're right. If you came a little later, you wouldn't need to come, Yemo said. Duan Ganyuan sneered. Dao friend came from the distant. Duan should be greeting you, but even if you're a Truth Realization State, you can't just kill my disciple and a cauldron-filling state of the Rune Master Association. I'm weak, but not anyone can abuse me. I won't allow outsiders to bully the weak. Gong Hong said nothing and just stood on the side. Yemo walked up to Duan Ganyuan and patted his shoulder. You're right. I like abusing the weak. Of course I won't kill you yet, because I have something for you to do. 14,000 kilometers west of the city, there's a subtle cultivation home hidden with a level 7 stealth formation. There are a few female cultivators locked up in there by your disciple Meng Guangji. Release their restriction and let them go. If I'm happy with what you did, I'll give you a quick one when you come back. Remember, I'm heading to the sect tournaments. He told Duan Ganyuan to go because Meng Guangji was Duan Ganyuan's disciple. Even if the female cultivators had some special restrictions placed on them, Yemo believed Duan Ganyuan would be able to open it. Gong Hong dazed. Yemo patted Duan Ganyuan's shoulder, but Duan Ganyuan didn't move at all. At Truth Realization State, even ordinary friends wouldn't pat each other's shoulders like that, much less enemies. Duan Ganyuan was dazed too. He found that when Yemo's hand patted him, he couldn't move at all. Yemo patted his shoulder 3 times. The first pat patted his cultivation to cauldron-filling state. The second pat cracked his Dan Tian open. The third pat cracked his meridians. Just as Yemo said, he wasn't killed because Yemo had something to do. Realizing his situation, Duan Ganyuan was so shocked he couldn't even speak. What cultivation level was this? Even Truth Realization State Peak Stage, cultivators who had passed Immortal Ascension Divine Damnation wouldn't be able to bind him this easily? Did you not hear what I said? Seeing Duan Ganyuan just stand there in shock and forget to reply, Yemo was annoyed. Wanbei heard it. Duan Ganyuan answered shakily. Yemo turned to Gong Hong. City Lord Gong, I don't have time to go. You go with Association Leader Duan. If he does anything that's not in line with my order, kill him. Gong Hong had recovered. He felt Duan Ganyuan's cultivation level drow straight down. He could only force down his horror and shock as he bowed yes. Wanbei will follow Qianbei's order. Yemo nodded. In that case, good. Xiaoying and Hui, let's go. The reason he sent Gong Hong over was to help those few female cultivators. If he went, he would only be able to save them, but Gong Hong was the city lord. He could provide them cultivation grounds and stable cultivation resources. Yemo believed with Gong Hong's disaster transformation state brain that he would know what he meant. When Yemo released Flying Magic Artifact and left the city, how Qiangying reacted and breathed easy. Clearly, Yimo was an insanely powerful being, otherwise, Duan Ganyuan wouldn't act like that. If someone like Yimo wanted to attack her, there was nothing she could do. Plus, from her time with Yimo, martial brother Yi didn't seem like ordinary cultivators. She looked at the storage ring Yimo gave Hui. There was top-grade and extreme-grade spirit stones. There weren't many pills, but there were many spirit artifacts. She didn't dare to take it before, but now it seemed these things were worthless to this Yi Qianbei. Qiangying, tell me about this sect tournament. Yimo put some extreme-grade spirit stones on the flying spirit artifact and asked how Qiangying had guessed now that Yimo probably wasn't from the cultivation realm. She thought for a moment as she organized her words and said, Martial Brother Yi, Xinqiang continent's sects are divided by stars. The highest is 9-star sect. The lowest is 1 star. 1-star sects rarely take in disciples. They're usually small cultivation families. Yimo nodded. This was like the system Luo Yu continent used. As for the 10-star pill city, that was because it had too many pill master and truth realization states. The biggest secret realm of Xinqiang realm, Xin Truth Spirit Grounds open every millennia. There are limited spots each time. In order to better distribute the spots, the big sects would have a sect tournament every time before the secret realm opened. Because the spots are so precious, almost every sect would come. The sects would send their sect members to compete and get spots based on their results. Yimo realized no wonder it went on for a month or two. Just how many people would be coming to such tournament? The sect tournament was very far from Xin High City, but under Yimo's control the extreme-grade flying spirit artifact had surpassed low-grade immortal artifact. In less than half a day, Yimo saw the tournament scene with his spirit sense. How long till the tournament? Yimo looked at the densely cluttered cultivators. It spanned almost a few hundred kilometers. There were more merchant towers and marketplaces mixed within. In about 10 days, Hao Qiangying quickly said. She saw the tournament grounds too. Yimo took out a storage ring and gave it to Hao Qiangying. This is for you. Thanks for bringing me all this way. Thank you, Qianbei. Hao Qiangying quickly took the storage ring and thanked. Yimo liked Hao Qiangying's straightforward attitude. He thought about it and said, Mu Xiaoyan is my wife. I'm going to Lotus Glory sect to see. If you want, I can introduce you and your brother into the sect. Lotus Glory sect. That was the dream of every cultivator. How could Hao Qiangying not want to go? She dazed for a moment and wanted to thank Yimo. At the same time, she thought, no wonder. Only someone like martial brother Yi deserved Goddess Mu. Yimo saw her face and knew she really wanted to go. He waved his hand, no need to thank me. I underfell Ji to the main stage and ask about Wanqing. Afterwards, we'll go to Lotus Glory sect. Wait for me here. Then, Yimo dashed up and landed in the center stage amongst the millions of people. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2072, Find Qi Wanqing. Chapter 2072, Find Qi Wanqing. Xin Truth Spirit Grounds was the biggest secret realm of Xinqiang continent. It had the most resources too. Sects big or small would come to this tournament regardless of how far they were. With all these sects here, of course there would be many truth realization states. There were even quite some truth realization state peak stages. As the main stage of the tournament, there were more than 20 truth realization states sitting here. No one would dare to come up without permission. As soon as Yimo landed on this stage, a few truth realization states surrounded him. This main stage was the place to announce the results. It was symbolic of the honor of all the sects on this continent. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 20 truth realization state cultivators sitting on the side of the stage to watch the tournament. Yimo, this unknown cultivator, dared to just charge up here, was asking to die. When these truth realization state came up, they said nothing and just chose to attack. No matter what Yimo's motive was, good or bad, charging up the main stage like this was a huge mistake. Yemo sneered and waved his hand. These few truth realization state were held by this invisible power and thrown back to their seats. To outsiders, it seemed like these truth realization states got up and then wanted to sit back down. I'm borrowing the main stage. If you dare to be rude again, I will kill you, Yemo said coldly. These few truth realization states shivered. Even those truth realization states who didn't get up shivered. What master was this? Since when did the cultivation realm have such powerful master? He easily waved his hand and threw back a few truth realization states like this. Immediately, everyone realized that Yemo wasn't simple. The 20 or so truth realization states glanced at each other and didn't dare to talk. They all saw shock and disbelief in each other's eyes. They all thought of the one thing. This cultivator wasn't from the cultivation realm, nor did he hide his power. They really couldn't see his cultivation level. This person probably wasn't from the cultivation realm, but from the immortal realm. Almost everyone saw Yemo on the stage. The main stage was so obvious and was usually used to announce important things and the tournament results. Now that Yemo appeared, he immediately caught everyone's attention. Yemo said loudly, "Dao friends from Xinxiang continent. I'm Yemo. Today I came here to find a friend. She's called Qi Wanqing. Everyone have a look at this image." Yemo's voice was heard even hundreds of km away. He waved out Qi Wanqing's image and even drew Little Wolf on her shoulder. "Dao friends, if anyone knows where my friend is or can provide me with any clues I can satisfy any wish you have in cultivation. I will be waiting at the main stage for 2 hours. Within this time, anyone who has news can come to me. Even if you want to join the best 9-star sect or truth carrot pill, I can satisfy you." At first, the cultivators didn't know what Yemo's reward was, but when Yemo said that, the scene erupted. Truth carrot pill was pill for disaster transformation state to reach truth realization state. Yemo even had such pill. Then wouldn't the rest of the pills be extremely easy? Immediately, everyone was asking about Qi Wanqing. Yemo then turned around and looked at the shocked 20 or so truth realization states. Seeing Yemo look at them, they quickly got up. Yemo stopped them from bowing. "Everyone sit down." After everyone sat down, Yemo asked, "Who here is from Lotus Glory sect?" A woman who seemed younger than 40 got up quickly and said, "Wanbei Guangjie is from Lotus Glory sect. Please order anything Qianbei." Guangjin felt nervous. Yemo's cultivation level was clearly above truth realization state, level 9 peak. He was definitely an immortal. In the cultivation realm, although immortals rarely came to the cultivation realm, but there were some. There were immortals coming back in the legends, but when their power would be suppressed to be just one level above truth realization state. However, Yemo's power was clear many levels above truth realization state. Yemo nodded. "Sit down. I want to ask you, did Mu Xiaoyan ascend from Lotus Glory sect?" "Yes, Qianbei. Elder Mu is our Lotus Glory sect member." "Qianbei," Guangjie said worriedly. Mu Xiaoyan had already ascended, and this Qianbei was clearly an immortal. Did he come to find Mu Xiaoyan? Did something happen to her in the immortal realm? Did he come to get revenge from Lotus Glory sect? Mu Xiaoyan had always been very kind. Yemo was a bit lost, as though remembering the days he was with Mu Xiaoyan. After a while, he recovered. "Tell me about how Mu Xiaoyan joined the sect and what she did at the sect." Guangjie agreed and recounted the process of Mu Xiaoyan joining the sect in detail. When Mu Xiaoyan came to the continent, she encountered the sect members' intake. She had joined a sect once before and knew that joining a sect in this strange place could get her protection. She was lucky to be chosen by the sect, as she was a pure with spirit root. She was treated like a treasure. Mu Xiaoyan didn't defy everyone's hopes and soon ascended to the immortal realm, becoming the second most talented person on the continent in 1,000 years. Mu Xiaoyan's master, Guanlai's martial sister, ascended to the immortal realm decades ago. Hearing Mu Xiaoyan's glory on the continent, Yemo felt happy for her. He got up and bowed to Guangjie. "I'll thank the sect for Xiaoyan. Qianbei, I don't care to accept this." Guangjie quickly got up. Even an idiot could tell that Yemo was close to Mu Xiaoyan. She suddenly remembered her martial sister say that Xiaoyan was looking for her husband. Was this Yi Mo Xiaoyun's husband in the mortal realm? How is this possible? No, you deserve it. Xiaoyun is my wife. I'm very grateful that Lotus Glory sect cared for Xiaoyun. I will go visit the place Xiaoyun lived at after this, and then set up a sect protection formation that even immortals can't break open for the Lotus Glory sect. Yimo said seriously. Guang Jie was dazed. Yimo was indeed Xiaoyun's husband, but what did he say afterwards? He would set up a formation that even immortals can't break through? Was he stronger than immortals? How is this possible? Guang Jie was struck by huge bliss. The nearby truth realization states heard this. Yimo said he would set up a sect protection formation that even immortals can't break. This meant that Yimo was at least an immortal and not an ordinary one. Realizing this, everyone looked at Guang Jie with envy. When Yimo went to the sect, anything he took out would make the already very strong Lotus Glory sect even stronger. Thank you, Qinbei. Guang Jie woke up. She was a little dazed from TH's huge bliss. Don't call me Qinbei. Xiaoyun is Lotus Glory sect's disciple. Just call me Yimo. Yimo sighed. Yimo glanced around at the extremely respectful cultivators and thought before saying, everyone probably knows I'm from the immortal realm. I actually came down by accident. I have a sect in the immortal realm called MOU Immortal Sect. If you guys have nowhere to go in the immortal realm, you can come to my MOU Immortal Sect. Thank you, Yi Qianbei. The rest of the truth realization states got up in joy and bowed to Yimo. Only after they reached the immortal realm would they know what MOU Immortal Sect meant. Yimo didn't stop them this time. He intentionally said this to help Lotus Glory sects get some allies. He believed that after saying this, even if some sects were jealous of Lotus Joy sect, they wouldn't join up against them. By the way, I brought 2 friends over. One is called Hao Qiangying, and her brother is called Yu He. Take them here. After I'm done with things, I need to leave Shunxiong continent. After I do, take them into your sect. Yimo said. Yes, Yi Qianbei. Guang Jie hesitated and still called Yi Qianbei. Then, she flew off the main stage and went to find the 2. When Yimo said he was looking for Qi Wanqing, a pretty woman at a distant square looked dazedly at Yimo. Her face was pretty, but couldn't resist the corrosion of time. She looked down and rubbed her eyes before slowly walking out. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2073 News of Qi Wanqing. Chapter 2073 News of Qi Wanqing. She recognized Yimo, but she felt she didn't have the face to see him. Mu Xiaoyan, who came to the Xinqiang continent with her, was extremely famous, but she couldn't even join a sect. She didn't think about finding Xiaoyan, as she didn't have the face. Grandma Feng took Xiaoyan to the teleportation formation in that whole knot because of goodwill. If Yimo didn't give Xiaoyan a protection measure, she would have been killed by Elder Feng. Grandma Feng was the backup of Ice Lake and her elder. As the sect leader of Ice Lake, she couldn't avoid things. Regardless, she had great relations with Grandma Feng. Grandma Feng pretty much died to Yimo's hands. Regardless, she didn't want to see Yimo nor think of the past. She was also sad thinking about the Marshall brothers and sisters that got lost coming to this world. She was pretty much alone in this world. Elan, the tournament isn't over yet. Where are you going? A female cultivator who looked older than Ji Elan stopped her. So, what if it ended? So what if it didn't? I've thought it through. I have no chance entering the Shun Truth Spirit Grounds. I might as well leave. Ji Elan sighed. Yimo could probably see her with spirit sense, but he wouldn't be able to recognize her, but staying here made her feel bad. Guang Jie took the excited Hao Qiangying and Yu He over. Before Guang Jie said anything, Hao Qiangying was extremely thankful. Yimo left her with top-grade spirit stones and extreme-grade spirit artifacts. Now she was taken into 9-star sect Lotus Glory sect and became the personal disciple of the Truth Realization State Elder Guang Jie. This was an honor amongst honor. I've already taken the 2 to be my personal disciples, Please rest assured, Qianbei. Guangjie said. The rest of the truth realization state saw this, and all came congratulate. They even took out gifts to Hao Qiangying and Yu He. The discussion was heated. There were people managing the stages, so these truth realization states surrounded Yimo and asked all sorts of questions. After 2 hours, Yimo no longer had the mood. There was no news about Qi Wanqing. Just when Yimo was about to leave a truth realization state, level 9 got up and bowed. Yi Qianbei, why don't you wait 2 days here? I'll publish the search for Goddess Wanqing. I believe as long as she once appeared on this continent, she would be found. Yimo thought about it and nodded. Okay, I'll wait another 2 days. Yimo needed another month to scan his spirit sense over the entire continent. 2 days later, there was no news of Qi Wanqing, but Gong Hong came to see Yimo alone. When he came up and saw the tens of truth realization states could only sit on Yimo's side, he knew that Yimo was very extraordinary. Duan Ganyuan didn't come? Yimo asked. Gong Hong quickly said after he handed over the saved female cultivators, he left. He didn't resist, so I didn't kill him. Yimo nodded. That will do. Thank you. It's an honor to do things for Qianbei. Is there anything else Qianbei needs me to do? Gong Hong asked. Nothing else, but any cultivator crawled up from the bottom. It's true that power is everything in the cultivation realm, but Xin High City is yours. Helping out ordinary cultivators is also adding a line of hope for your Dao. Yimo said. Yimo didn't bullshit. As a Dao molding divine emperor, he knew that Dao vindication wasn't just about carnage and power. When everything you did came from the bottom of your heart and you could face it, then you can talk about Dao vindication. Otherwise, you can only vindicate Dao through other means and vindicate small Dao. Yes, Wan Bei will remember this. Gong Hong answered. After Gong Hong left, Yimo got up and saluted with his fist to the truth realization states. I'm going. If you guys have any news of Qi Wanqing, please send it to Lotus Glory Sect. Then, Yimo took out tens of low-grade defense immortal artifacts and said, I have some low-grade defense immortal artifacts. Take one each. These were really useless to Yimo. His body was much stronger than low-grade defense immortal artifact, but this was the cultivation realm. Anything immortal artifact was the best. Plus, it was difficult for truth realization state to use top-grade immortal artifacts. The reason he took out defense immortal artifacts was because he didn't want to take out a bunch of offensive immortal artifacts and cause rivers of blood. Seeing Yimo take out this many immortal artifacts in one go, how could the truth realization states not be happy? They all got up to thank Yimo. Many 9-star sects didn't have an immortal artifact. These immortal artifacts could immediately be taken back as the sect protection treasure. At this moment, a messenger flying sword landed in a middle-aged truth realization state. That truth realization state looked at it and immediately sent the message over to Yimo in surprise and joy. Yi Qianbei, there's news of Wanqing Goddess. Yimo grabbed the message in excitement and scanned this message quickly. He soon got news of Qi Wanqing. She was at a place a few million miles away called Tupmi Town. There was a golden core state female who said she knew Qi Wanqing. The distance was too far, so she asked if Qi Wanqing should be brought over or if Yimo would go over. Yimo quickly put the messenger flying sword away and said to the middle-aged truth realization state, Thank you very much. Do you have a map? The truth realization state forced down his excitement and took out a map jade slip and marked a line and then passed it to Yimo. I've marked the location of the Tuomi town. Qianbei just needs to go that way. He knew that the reason Yimo asked for the map was to help him. Yimo glanced at the map and said to Guangjie, I'm going to find my friend. I'll come to Lotus Glory Sect after. Goodbye for now. Then, Yimo said goodbye and his figure dimmed down. There was disappointment in the truth realization state's eyes. Yimo didn't leave him anything, but before he finished the thought, Yimo's voice sounded by his ear. I've left some things in your storage ring. Good luck. The truth realization state quickly scanned his spirit's sense into his storage ring. There was 100 crystals with extremely dense immortal spirit chi Just scanning his spirit sense through these immortal crystals made him feel his cultivation level about to break through. His heart skipped crazily. This was definitely immortal crystals, and there were even immortal pills and a good flying immortal artifact next to it. He made it. He suppressed his joy and wanted to immediately take out these things and check them one by one. But he knew that Yi Qianbei didn't give it to him straight away to protect him. If he took it out now, he would be an idiot. Tuomi town was extremely far and didn't have a lot of spirit chi. It was a gathering place for solo cultivators. They were gathered here because of Tuomi mountain ranges. It ranged for a few million kms and had many ancient ruins inside. Many ancient cultivators liked to go here for solitary cultivation, and many people couldn't come out. There were also all sorts of spirit beasts and spirit herbs. If you were lucky, you could even find 1 or 2 spirit ranges. That's why this place was so attractive to solo cultivators. Of course, there was more dangers inside. The ranges wasn't very long for high-level cultivators, but rarely could people cross the entire mountain range. Even the top flying magic artifact can't safely fly past the depth of the ranges. Plus, ordinary magic artifact can't even fly in the depth. In an ordinary spirit rest tower, a light green robed woman sat in a corner in anxiety. She didn't dare to leave, as the Duan Kong Ling Island people told her to wait here for a very powerful Qianbei. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2074 Nightmare. Chapter 2074 Nightmare. Lu Zhai, I have a good deal here. Do you want to take it? A sharp voice sounded by the green-robed female cultivator's ear. The person talking was extremely robust. If one didn't hear his voice, one would never believe such a man spoke this sharply. This female cultivator looked at this man and shook her head. Brother Chow, I won't go. I have other things. You Guzi go first. Brother Chow laughed. Lu Zhai, just listen to me. There's nothing more important than this. I said I've already arranged to meet someone. Lu Zhai frowned. The male cultivator asked, who did you arrange to meet? I'll help you push it off. She arranged to meet me. Yimo's voice sounded. Hearing this, Lu Zhai immediately stood up in shock. She got news that Yimo was more than a few million kms away. There was no way he was here in such a short time. If what the people from Duan Kong Ling Island said was true, then this Qianbei was too scary. Who the fuck are you? The Chow guy just said these words and felt his body go light. Then, he was thrown out. When he landed, he found he was face down on the ground in a small gully outside the town. He got up in terror and quickly released his flying magic artifact and fled. He didn't dare to come into this town again. This person easily threw a golden core state peak stage like him out of the town. What power was this? He had never heard of such master. You're Lu Zhai? Yimo suppressed his excitement and set up a sound barrier restriction as he sat opposite her. Yes, Qianbei, Wanbei is Lu Zhai. Lu Zhai resisted her shock and terror. Yimo easily threw Chow Wenming out. Such power was unheard of. I'm Yimo. I'm Qi Wanqing's friend. Tell me where she is? Yimo asked. Lu Zhai looked experienced. Her look was ordinary, but her eyes were extremely pretty. Lu Zhai showed a disappointed look and bowed. So Qianbei is Yimo. Wanqing had mentioned Qianbei more than once. She said she came to find Qianbei, but she never was able to. Sigh, seeing this, Yimo's heart sunk. He had a bad feeling. Lu Zhai, tell me where she is now. Wanqing had been with me. We've been striving in Tuomi mountain ranges. It's tiring, but we both reached Golden Core State. Wanqing's talent was much better than mine. If she didn't use most of her earnings to buy face-preserving pills, she might even be Hollow Spirit State now. Yimo really wanted to listen to Wanqing's experiences, but he still interrupted Lu Zhai and said, tell me this later. Where is she now? Wanqing is gone. Lu Zhai felt Yimo's desperation and worry. Suddenly, she felt Wanqing didn't wait for nothing. What? Yimo's face went pale, and even his head became a little dizzy. He could long feel Qi Wanqing's feelings for him at the forest in the border. When he heard that Qi Wanqing came out of the Xianjiang mountain teleportation formation, Yimo guessed that she was probably looking for him. When he saw Su Jingwen was almost dead. But he didn't have that much luck this time. Lu Zhai sighed and said sadly, 50 years ago, Wanqing and I joined up to search a ruin, but we saw an almost level 7 one-eyed wolf. We fled and got lost in the ranges. When we woke up, we had come to the most dangerous part of the ranges, Tuolmi Snow Plateau. Wanqing died there. My capabilities were limited, and I couldn't even bring her body back. Yimo clenched his fists. He felt he owed Qi Wanqing. If it wasn't due to him, Qi Wanqing wouldn't die in a foreign place. She would age and die like a normal person on Earth with her family. He thought of the snowy day he saw Su Jingwen. Did Qi Wanqing feel lonely roaming here alone? Did she hope to get home before she died? At this moment, she felt the terror and loneliness Qi Wanqing had here. Lu Zhai could feel Yimo shaking. She could even feel Yimo's qi become unstable. Just when she wanted to persuade Yimo, she felt a chaotic qi strike her chest, and she couldn't resist, spitting a mouthful of blood. Yimo suddenly woke up and quickly collected his qi and took out a pill to her. Sorry, I lost control. Lu Zhai forced a smile. It's okay. Then, she ate the pill Yimo gave her, but she was more shocked at Yimo's power. What cultivation level was this? Just a casual qi flowing out from him seriously injured her. When she ate that pill, all her injuries were gone, and even the pill poison piled up in her body disappeared. All her previous subtle injuries were gone. She was truly shocked. What pill was this? It was definitely beyond level 9 spirit pill. Seeing Lu Zhai calm down, Yimo asked Lu Zhai, how did Wanqing die? Lu Zhai recounted, we were lost in the Tuolmi Snow Plateau. There were avalanches and snow ditches everywhere. We couldn't release our flying magic artifact, nor use any mobility technique. We had to carefully find our way out. However, Wanqing misstepped and was devoured by the snow whirlpool. In my sorrow, I knew there was nothing I could do other than keep walking out. Perhaps I was destined to not die. When I got out of the snow plateau, I saw a disaster transformation state Qianbei, and he took me outside the mountains ranges. Yimo suddenly got up and said, Lu Zhai, please take me to that snow plateau. I will definitely pay you back. Lu Zhai dazed. Even if Yimo was truth realization state, he would be in danger to go there. I promise you won't get hurt. Yimo added. Lu Zhai immediately said firmly, I went in there with Wanqing, and I came out alone. Even now, I still miss here. What do I have to fear going there again? Okay, let's go now. Yimo immediately got up. Lu Zhai stood on the blue moon and felt Yimo was very extraordinary. This flying magic artifact fused into the void and left no trace. What flying magic artifact was this? Yimo released Blue Moon to get there faster. Blue Moon was the top flying immortal artifact even in the immortal realm. It used less than 5 minutes to get to the Tuolmi mountain ranges, and this was Yimo purposely slowing down. The mountain ranges twisted and turned. It was boundless. Even though Lu Zhai stayed here for a few hundred years, she couldn't recognize any corner. But with Yimo, she didn't need to worry about being ambushed by spirit beasts. She soon found the path. She entered the ranges with Qi Wanqing. Lu Zhai's heart skipped fast. This was her first time seeing someone could fly in the Tuolmi mountain ranges. Qianbei, we need to go down, or I won't be able to know the way. Lu Zhai said. Yimo nodded and got off Blue Moon. Lu Zhai didn't go fast, but she didn't forget the path. Half a day later, Lu Zhai stopped at a spot where a few valleys were entwined and pointed at a valley, Yi Qianbei. Yimo interrupted her. Lu Zhai, you're friends with Wanqing, so we're friends. Don't call me Qianbei. Call me Brother Yi. Yes, Brother Yi. Lu Zhai said. What were you going to say? Yimo asked. Lu Zhai quickly continued, Brother Yi, we accidentally came here before and saw a wolf that was almost level 7. It was due to that wolf that we were forced into the snow plateau. Yimo stared at the valley, and his eyes went cold and sharp. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2075, Void Pin. Chapter 2075, Void Pin, Yemo's spirit sense, just scanned in, and a tall, dark gray figure appeared in his spirit sense. Grr, that's it, it's already level 7. Although Lu Zhai knew that Yemo was probably not scared of this level 7 wolf, she was still nervous. The wolf looked 3 meters tall, and only had one eye that shot out dark red beams. The eye didn't charge over as Lu Zhai thought. Instead, it stared at Yemo, carefully, clearly sensing Yemo wasn't ordinary. Yemo suddenly grabbed at his side. A huge rock shot into Yemo's hands. The wolf subconsciously retreated a few meters, but it soon stopped as though feeling that even if Yemo threw the rock at him, it wouldn't affect him at all. Lu Zhai also stared at Yemo in shock. She didn't understand why Yemo grabbed the stone. Could stones kill a level 7 spirit beast? Yemo ignored her and threw out a ball of flame. The huge stone was instantly turned into 10 rock spears. When Lu Zhai's spirit sense scanned the 5 rock spears, she opened her mouth wide in shock. Those spears were already spirit artifact. Was her eyes blind? If any rock on the side of the road could be turned into spirit artifact in the matter of seconds, then spirit artifacts would be all over this world. The wolf clearly wasn't dumb. When it stared at the spears, instant second eyes instantly narrowed. At the same time, he turned, but then the wolf saw that it couldn't even more, much less turn. It had some intelligence. The dark red was gone in instant second eyes. Instead, it was filled with horror. It kept making whimpering sounds as though begging for mercy. Yemo's 5 spears suddenly shot out. The wolf seemed to have been pulled up into the air as the 5 spears penetrated it in the air. There was no support. The 5 spears just pinned the wolf in the air. Blood fell along the spear tip to the ground. The wolf howled in pain. Lu Zhai forgot to even talk. She guessed that the wolf would be no match for Yemo, but it couldn't even resist at all and was nailed in midair. Even truth realization state Qianbei wouldn't have such crazy acts. Why didn't that wolf fall? Where was the 5 spears locked onto? Yemo suddenly said, once your cultivation reaches a certain level, any void can be seen. If you're willing, you can tear open void and head to another void. It's too early for you, but sooner or later you will understand. Let's go now. Take me to the snow plateau. This wolf hunted Wanqing. It can wait to die. Yes. Lu Zhai didn't understand what Yemo said at all. But she knew Yemo's power was probably beyond some truth realization state peak stages. Seeing this, Lu Zhai felt more secure, and she sped up. Even so, Yemo felt she was too slow. He couldn't calm down before he found where Qi Wanqing went missing, so he put his hand on her waist and said, "You point the way. I'll take you." Lu Zhai had been alone all these years and had never had a man hold her waist. When Yemo held her, her body went tense, but she soon understood that Yemo wasn't trying to take advantage of her. With Yemo's help, they sped up quickly. Lu Zhai felt that as long as she pointed the way, she could fly in the ranges, and she didn't encounter a single spirit beast, nor those gravity whirlpools. As Lu Zhai got used to this speed, she felt Yemo send her essence chi, that slightly warm essence chi, went into her meridians, picking up her speed and make her feel something else. This feeling became more and more real as she flew. Eventually, she felt her legs go soft and breathing become heavier. At this moment, a boundless snow plateau appeared before them. Yemo let go of Lu Zhai and asked, "Is this the snow plateau?" Lu Zhai stumbled and almost fell to the ground, but she quickly covered this up and said awkwardly, "Yes, it's here. This is the border of the Tuomi Snow Plateau. We went in from here and went straight." After about half a day, Wanqing was swept away by the snow whirlpool. Lu Zhai calmed down, and there was a sliver of sadness in her tone. Yemo nodded and took out a cultivation, home magic artifact. "Stay in here and wait for me. I'm going in to find Wanqing." Remember, even if level 9 spirit beast or truth realization state cultivator comes, They wouldn't be able to do anything to you as long as you don't leave this cultivation home. I understand, Lu Jai said. Yimo gave her a storage ring. There's some spirit stones and pills. You can break through to nascent soul here. No one will disturb you. Huh. Yimo had dashed into the snow plateau already. The pills inside were made by small ginseng. Small ginseng couldn't concoct a mortal pill, but could concoct some spirit pills. As for outside the cultivation home, Yimo set up an immortal formation for recognizing Lu Jai's chi. Seeing Yimo disappear, Lu Jai shook her head. Yimo's cultivation level was top level, but he didn't understand how hard it was for low-level cultivators to reach nascent soul. It wasn't just a matter of spirit stones, but she was hopeful of Yimo's storage ring. When she scanned her spirit sense in, she almost dropped the storage ring. This storage ring was too insane. There was a bottle of Chao Huan pill. That was a grade 1 heaven pill. Chao Huan pill was used to break through to nascent soul. Even one would need her to work for countless years, but there was an entire bottle here. Nascent essence pill, blue carrot pill, hollow meridian pill, break spirit pill. She was completely dumb and even forgot there were stacks of spirit stones. With this many cultivation resources, she didn't need to stay at Tuolmi mountain ranges. Yeah, break through to nascent soul. Lu Jai couldn't resist it anymore and quickly got ready for solitary cultivation. The Tuolmi snow plateau had boundless snow peaks, snow ditches, and cliffs. The bigger danger here was gravity. Even truth realization state can't fly here. If one sunk into a snow whirlpool, he would have to climb up slowly. When Yimo charged into the plane, his spirit sense spread out all over. His spirit sense had recovered to 50,000 kilometers range. If his spirit sense completely recovered now, he would grab this entire snow plateau and melt it. A few million km of snow was no bigger than a palm for a Tao molding divine emperor. A pretty woman saw Yimo dashing around in the snow plateau. Next to her was a handsome male cultivator. They stood there as though there was no danger. Clearly, they were truth realization state. This person's power is so high. He can walk like he's flying, the handsome male cultivator exclaimed. Ah, Martial Brother Jiaqing. He went into the snow plains, the pretty woman said in amazement. But soon, Yimo dashed into a snow valley and disappeared from their spirit sense. Yimo saw the two truth realization state, but he didn't care. With Yimo going around so quick, snow mists, avalanches, and whirlpools increased. Even these two truth realization states had to move away from Yimo's place. Yui, let's go, is probably a truth realization state peak stage master. The handsome man said. The female shook her head. Wait, I want to see such master. The man cared about the woman a lot and said nothing. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2076, I'm really lonely. Chapter 2076, I'm really lonely. Yimo searched in a larger and larger area on the snow. He didn't want to give up any corner. 2 days' time, Yimo had never relaxed at all. He even set aside recovering. Yui, let's go. This person has been searching underground for 2 days. The male cultivator said, but they were resting in a cultivation home magic artifact. Yui frowned and said in annoyance, Martial Brother Jiaqing, you can go first, no need to wait for me. Seeing that the female cultivator was really angry, Jiaqing quickly apologized and didn't dare to say anything anymore. Yimo stared dazedly at the bottom of the valley where it was ice on all sides. He was shaking. Ever since he cultivated, it was his first time he felt so powerless. He couldn't even make a step out. 3 meters in front of him was Qi Wanqing sitting with her eyes open. She seemed to be saying something, but her body was now lifeless. Yimo struggled and knelt on one knee in front of her and touched her face. Her looks looked exactly the same as before. Yimo suddenly felt there was something stuck in his throat. Qi Wanqing still looked the same clearly because she didn't freeze to death. When she fell in here, she probably knew that she would never be able to go out and knew cultivation was impossible down here. She would eventually freeze to death by this icy cold, so she ended her own life at her prime and used her life force to preserve her face. Yemo remembered to the time when he first saw her. "Brother Yi, I'll take it off myself. I didn't bring pants. Brother Yi, I want to ask you to help me with something." She wanted to help him find a job, but was scared she would hurt his self-esteem. "No, the next time I see it, I will still stop it. If you're poisoned, it would be over, but if I'm poisoned, perhaps you can save me." "Brother Yi, I don't understand these things. You saved me. I just don't want you to be bitten by the snake. If it happens again, I will still do the same." The scenes with Qi Wanqing gradually cleared up in Yemo's mind. He couldn't give her what she wanted. Yemo's hands slowly caressed Qi Wanqing's hair, and his eyes fell on the wall next to her. There were some words: "If you find me here one day, please take me back to see my parents, and then place me next to where you live. That way I can see you every day. If one day you really came to see me, do you still remember the hairbrush I gave you? I've always hoped you could brush my hair with that brush. If you came, I want to tell you that I'm really lonely." Yemo felt the tip of his nose go sour. He suddenly realized he owed her this much without him even noticing. He felt Qi Wanqing's painting like beauty. How could Yemo not know that Qi Wanqing preserved her looks for him? She trusted that he would be able to find her one day. Yemo took out a wooden brush. There was still a phone number on it. Qi Wanqing left it for him. He picked the brush up and carefully brushed Qi Wanqing's long hair. His movements were dumb, as he rarely did this, but he tried to be gentle. Yemo finally couldn't hold it anymore as his eyes teared. The tear fell on Qi Wanqing's black hair. At this moment, he suddenly realized that even though he vindicated Dao, he still couldn't see his own emotional world straight. Qi Wanqing closed her eyes slowly, as though her final wish had been fulfilled. "Wanqing," Yemo said. He could feel his hands shake heavily. "I'm really lonely." Yemo could imagine how lost and alone she was when she wrote this down. Yemo suddenly felt very grateful to Lu Zhai. At least when Wanqing was striving on here, Lu Zhai accompanied her. Sometimes, death wasn't scary, but that endless loneliness and yearning was a torture for Qi Wanqing. "Wanqing, you can stay with me no matter how long." Yemo took out the chaos tree. He knew that even this tree couldn't revive her, but he still said to Chaos Tree, "I want to borrow a branch of yours. Wanqing did this for me. No matter what the future is, I hope there is a tree of life branch with her forever." As though understanding this, the chaos tree wobbled, then a 20 centimeters branch fell into Yemo's hands. Yemo carefully placed this branch in Qi Wanqing's hands. Only now did he find a small lump next to her which had an icy tablet, Little Wolf's Tomb. Yemo saw this and felt sad again. Wanqing had no friends coming to this continent. Only the little wolf he gave her, and now it was dead too. Yemo carried up Qi Wanqing and stood for a long time before waving his hand a few times. As he moved, the entire valley and icy wall was brought up and completely put into the Golden Page world. With this large area being taken away by Yemo, the entire plateau erupted. Avalanches set off like crazy as snow whirlpools were created. That female cultivator stared at this chaotic snow plateau in shock. Just what is he doing? Why did it cause such a big commotion? At this moment, she and the man quickly retreated. Even though they were truth realization state, they couldn't do anything in this situation. Before the male cultivator could answer, a figure howled as he charged out of the snow. He's carrying a female cultivator. The truth realization state man finally saw clearly. However, there was a female cultivator in his hands, and she seemed lifeless. Such power! The truth realization state stared at Yemo in shock and fervor. The entire snow plains was raging like a storm, but Yemo stood just 100 meters above the snow wave, unaffected at all. He can fly on the Tuomi snow plains? The man was shocked. The female cultivator is lifeless, but the branch in her hands emits life force like I've never seen before. Perhaps the entire cultivation realm doesn't have something as good as this. Yui finally moved her eyes from Yemo. She admired and liked those young and powerful cultivators and liked unique treasures even more. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2077 Divine, Tao Rebirth. Chapter 2077 Divine, Tao Rebirth. The long howl stopped, but the snow waves didn't. The sky seemed to have been invaded by this rolling snow and affected by Yi Mo's melancholic mourn. It started to snow. Yi Mo stood and didn't move until lightning howled over from the distance. He suddenly woke up and carefully put Qi Wanqing under the bitter bamboo. When he left the mountain ranges, he would make the prettiest place for Qi Wanqing to stay. There was a Luo Yin in the Golden Page world too. He was planning to give her back to her sect to her brother. But Qi Wanqing was different. He knew her feelings, and she was going to stay with him in the Golden Page world forever. It was because of this that he planned to use the best materials to build a place for Qi Wanqing. He would plant flowers around it personally. He knew her soul was gone, but he put a branch in her hand, just so her life force can be forever preserved, hoping that one day the tree of life's life force would see into her body. After sending Qi Wanqing into the Golden Page world, he looked at the direction of the lightning. He guessed that Lu Zhai was having her divine damnation. Yi Mo was very grateful to her for staying with Qi Wanqing. He would go protect her and ask her if she wanted to join Lotus Glory sect. Yi Mo left the snow, and as soon as he came to the border, a red figure flew over. Yi Mo stopped. He knew these two. They were standing on the side when he was searching for Qi Wanqing. "Martial brother, hello. I'm Hong Yuyi. I'm amazed by your temperament. May I know Martial brother's name?" The female truth realization state cultivator said. "I'm Yi Mo." Yi Mo said plainly. After hearing this, Hong Yuyi said happily, "Brother Yi, I'm really happy that I can get to know you. Do you have time? I want to ask you a few questions privately." Yi Mo dazed. He thought of the times Qi Wanqing called him brother. Hong Yuyi's brother was so fake, but Wanqing's brother would be never heard again. "Brother Yi?" Seeing Yi Mo go into a day, Hong Yuyi moaned again. There seemed to be embarrassment on her face. Yi Mo glanced at the truth realization state male behind her. Without needing to ask, he knew that these two were probably a couple. Seeing Yi Mo frown at Martial brother Jiaqing, Hong Yuyi suddenly felt that she shouldn't have brought Martial brother Jiaqing here. This might cause a misunderstanding. She quickly turned around and said, "Martial brother Jiaqing, go out first. I need to talk with brother Yi." There was a sliver of disgust in Yi Mo's eyes. He felt this Hong Yuyi was so fake. She was indeed pretty, but he disliked such woman the most. Yi Mo actually misunderstood this Hong Yuyi. She really liked Yi Mo on first sight, but she was like this to any handsome, powerful male cultivator, even the Martial brother Jiaqing next to her. If she saw anyone better than the one she was with, she would immediately like that person. Seeing Yi Mo was stronger than her partner, she immediately wanted to switch. Yuyi, the male cultivator, didn't want to leave, but was scared of the female cultivator and called out timidly. Hong Yuyi frowned and said, "Why do you always follow me? What do you want with me? To say it here?" Yi Mo forced his temper down. "Brother Yi, I want to talk to you alone." Hong Yuyi blushed. She felt that every time she changed a guy, it was a new love experience. She loved this feeling. "Piss off." Yi Mo sneered and couldn't be bothered talking to this Hong Yuyi. "You." Hong Yuyi's face went pale as snow. She was pretty and had powerful background. No one has ever dared to say piss off to her. Seeing Yi Mo leave, she came to her sense and called out to that Martial brother Jiaqing, "Hurry up and bring him here and teach him a lesson." "Hurry." But Jiaqing was a truth realization state, but he grew up without facing the harsh world. He didn't feel Yi Mo did anything wrong. Plus, he didn't feel he was a match for Yi Mo. Seeing Martial brother Jiaqing not move, Hong Yuyi sneered, "Okay, from now on No, I'll go immediately." Martial brother Jiaqing dashed and chased away at Yi Mo. Yi Mo just stared at this truth realization state and said, "Are all the female cultivators on Xinqiang continent dead? You actually like such a trash." Then Yi Mo disappeared. The truth realization state dazed there thinking about what Yi Mo said. In the depth of the mountain ranges, there was a furious howl that was extremely powerful. The intense, killing intent interrupted the man's thoughts. He looked at the depth of the Tuolumne mountain ranges in terror. How is the level 10 Wolf King startled? In the endless void between the immortal realm and cultivation realm, an ordinary asteroid suddenly cracked. Endless flames erupted from the asteroid, and a completely naked man stood in the flames. Everyone thought I would gather my soul in the immortal realm, but I think you guys didn't expect me to be reborn in flames between the immortal realm and cultivation realm. You guys aren't enough to kill me, Truth Divine Emperor. Just wait for me to go find you one by one. Ha 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 ha. The man laughed. This man was Truth Divine Emperor. He never died. His body just crippled. He knew the other Divine Emperors wouldn't let him rebirth so easily, so he gave up a strand of soul, creating countless ghost ships in the immortal realm void. Meanwhile, he used a rune to leave the immortal realm and cultivate divine Tao rebirth in the void. He had long gotten this cultivation method, but he couldn't make up the mind to cultivate it, as in order to cultivate this, one must give up his original power and body. That time, he was ambushed and his body crippled. This made him make up the mind to cultivate this cultivation method. Even so, he still set up all sorts of other things to make the other divine emperors think he just wanted to gather his soul and rebirth. He even threw most of his things in a cultivation realm. After rebirth, he realized how terrifying this divine Tao rebirth was. His body was rebuilt, and he already had power equal to that of his prime. Once his cultivation level stabled, he would be easily able to break through to Tao actualization Divine Emperor. He waved his hand and grabbed a few asteroids. They were soon turned into a set of clothes. How is my immortal carnage tower in the immortal realm? Truth Divine Emperor immediately sensed the tower in Yimo's hands. His tower was spirit-controlled. Luckily, he left marks in there. The tower was extremely important to him. He immediately wanted to go take it back, but the instant he moved, his face changed again, and he murmured the chaos tree chi actually appeared in a cultivation realm. He laughed hysterically again. The chaos tree chi is actually in the cultivation realm. He was certain that other people could feel it too, but by the time he went to the cultivation realm and took the tree, other people were probably thinking about how to head to the cultivation realm. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2078, Roaring Wolf King. Chapter 2078, Roaring Wolf King. When Yi Mo saw Lu Zhai, she had already passed her final divine damnation. Although her armor was smashed apart, Yi Mo gave her a few extreme, grade spirit artifact, so she had minimal injuries. Lu Zhai just quickly stabilized her cultivation level and came up to Yi Mo. She was filled with joy. She had always dreamed of reaching nascent soul, and now it was realized. Brother Yi, thank you. Lu Zhai couldn't express her joy. Congratulations, Lu Zhai, change your clothes, and then we'll go out. Yi Mo felt happy for her too, but he really couldn't bring up his mood. Lu Zhai thought of what Yi Mo went to do and subconsciously asked, Brother Yi, did you find Wan Qing's? Yi Mo nodded yes. Thanks for telling me about her. Seeing Yi Mo's look, Lu Zhai knew that Wan Qing was probably no longer alive. She said in self-reproach, Sorry, Brother Yi, I wasn't able to find her. This has nothing to do with you. Yi Mo said sadly. Lu Zhai wasn't able to help Wan Qing at all. Those who could help Wan Qing from down there had to be at least disaster transformation state tertiary stage and must have some luck. Lu Zhai silently went in and changed her clothes, but Yi Mo's thoughts were focused. Lu Zhai soon changed her clothes and came out of the cultivation home mansion. Just when Yi Mo was going to put it away, he felt something wrong. His cultivation home magic artifact was attacked from the outside. He set up immortal crystals, and the level was very high, so the attacks didn't do much to the formation. He didn't believe Lu Zhai would attack the place she cultivated. Lu Zhai, did someone come and attack here? Yi Mo immediately asked. No, I have been cultivating inside. I didn't feel any attacks. Lu Zhai said. Yemo knew she was in solitary cultivation and didn't sense the attacks from outside. His formation was too high level. Even if a truth realization state primary stage came to attack it, the people inside wouldn't be affected. Was this place attacked? Lu Zhai asked. Yemo nodded yes. Definitely, but the formation's level is too high and the attacker didn't open it, so he left. He probably went back for him. We can ignore him. Let's go out first. There was another roar with fury. The depth of the Tuolumne mountain ranges swept over a rotting scent. Brother Yi, it seems to be the level 10 Tuolumne mountain ranges Wolf King. Seeing that Yemo didn't seem to hear it, Lu Zhai said shakily. The level 10 Wolf King was very powerful. It said even a few truth realization state level 9 can't kill it. Yemo released a flying magic artifact and said it has nothing to do with us. He wouldn't even care about a level 10 immortal beast, much less a level 10 spirit beast. Wait, Brother Yi. I think the one-eyed wolf we killed before might be related to the Wolf King, Lu Zhai said worriedly. One-eyed wolf? Yemo immediately thought of the wolf he killed. The fury in his heart immediately found a venting point. If it wasn't for that wolf, Wanqing wouldn't be lost in the snow plains. Now that there was a beast coming out to avenge the wolf, how can Yemo show mercy? Wait, Yemo said and disappeared. Yemo used a transmission and came to the valley. He killed the wolf a few days ago. The wolf pinned in the air was gone. You have some power. You actually took the body away. Yemo sneered and flashed back to Lu Zhai. The wolf I killed is taken away. It's probably by a high-level spirit beast in the depth. I didn't even go to them, and they actually come to me. I'm going to go check. How about I send you out first? Yemo was going to annihilate this wolf family. Brother Yi, I'll go with you, even though I can't help much. If you don't think I'm deadweight, Lu Zhai said. Yemo said, okay, let's go see that roaring wolf king. Qianbei, it's there, the border of the Tuolumne Plains. I saw a very high-level cultivation home. Even when I attacked the defense formation with full power, I couldn't open it. I suspect that the cultivation home showed because a stealth formation was broken. A brown-robed cauldron-filling state said to the two truth realization states behind him. He was full of bitterness. He found this cultivation home and realized he couldn't break open it, so he immediately sent a messenger flying sword wanting to ask for help. However, his message was seen by a truth realization state Qianbei, and now he had to lead the way for the truth realization state Qianbei. Just lead the way. If what you're saying is true, I have good things to give you. The gray-robed truth realization state said expressionlessly. Yes, yes. The cauldron-filling state nodded shakily. Just when he said this, a powerful roar sounded. The cauldron-filling state's face changed and immediately stopped. The two truth realization states behind him also stopped. Soon, they saw two young truth realization state charging out. Their eyes were filled with anxiety. Dao friends, what happened? Why is the Wolf King out? The gray-robed truth realization state asked. Suddenly, there was huge space ripple. A 3-meter-tall, dark-faced man stood before them. A few mere truth realization states dare to kill my wolf race. Die! The man waved out thousands of wind blades, forming space bindings that bound the 5. The 4 truth realization state immediately released their defense magic artifact and their domain before breaking free and retreating. If it was outside, these truth realization states wouldn't have such low hand of the battle, but in here, the gravity was strong and the dark-faced man had the advantage. The cauldron-filling state was torn to pieces. You're the Wolf King of the Tuolumne mountain ranges. You can't just attack without reason like this. The gray-robed cultivator said. So what? Can you deny that humans killed our wolf race? You guys are getting bolder and bolder. You dare to kill my wolf race. The man's force was very powerful. You're wrong. I killed that wolf. I never denied it. I just checked. Someone moved the body of the wolf I killed. That person is quite bold. Yemo's voice sounded. No wonder it was called Wolf King. It could morph into human form. You. The man saw Yemo bring a nascent soul cultivator over and immediately stared at him in shock. He didn't understand where Yemo got his confidence from. The four truth realization states stared at Yemo with uncertainty. They didn't understand why Yemo dared to mess with the dragon in the ocean. Hong Yi cursed Yemo for being an idiot, but rejoiced that Yemo was going to die before she attacked. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.